Yeah, let me know if you find out like what the control mechanism or for it is, because I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I'm looking.
It might actually be even better if it's like a custom peripheral that you have to blow into while tilting it, because that just sounds like a nightmare. Anyway, we're all here. This is going to be kind of a probably a smaller session, a little bit of a transition to the next arc. But there's some important stuff to wrap up. Last time when we left off, you guys had defeated both Warley and Ozymandias. Ozymandias snatched up the body and soul of Dr. Warley, left behind the body of Ozymandias, which Gale then proceeded to vent some frustration on, to put it lightly. Everybody else was pretty much on board with this, except for Ace, who had some qualms with it, and that kind of spun off into a little side conversation with Corlin, who questioned his motives and his mercy specifically. You guys took a little bit of time then to sneak around the city, because this was not all that needed to be done. The important thing is that the poison needs to be eradicated from the city, or they're going to keep following all of Ozymandias' minions and lieutenants throughout the city. You snuck over to the waterworks, cleared out some druids that were still operating there, and were able to kind of reprogram Puck to distribute the antidote through the water instead of dumping poison into it. And then you snuck on over to the farming district where you found Jack and Gordy, and you were able to kind of do the same thing. He was able to start dumping antidote into the irrigation channels for all the farms, so that hopefully over the next few days, the food changes from being poisonous and mind controlling into being an antidote. With that said, all of these changes are going to take several days to take effect. And so you've sort of just hunkered down in the palace to catch your breath, to protect yourselves, because presumably the dragons know that something is terribly wrong, and you're not sure what they'll do about it. And also to just kind of fortify and rest up and get a sense for what everything is looking like. As you explored the palace and prepared to sleep for the night, you discovered that the entire second floor is just filled to the brim with all of the loot that has been gathered from the entire city. There are billions of dollars worth of gold here. I think it's pretty much been established that you're going to work on distributing all that back to where it belongs. You're not going to sit here and loot it. Most of you have more money than God anyway after the Wandering Sun. However, there was notably in the old royal bedroom the personal hoard of Ozymandias, which is just a tremendous volume of poisons. Some of which are normal, some of which are exotic, some of which are valuable. You do also see there that there are a couple of these large drums with like leather caps over them that have bite marks in them. One of them is filled to the brim with this like dense green venom, and the other one has this kind of thin, clear blue venom to it. But then finally, and right where we left off, in Dr. Worley's room, there was a lockbox that you guys were able to unlock that contained a series of contingency plans for his death. Specifically, contingency plans for how to handle Subject 32. 32nd in line to the heir to the throne, Gale. It contained some parts that were plainly visible, but parts of it had been hidden off behind a wax seal, with the understanding that if you broke that seal, it was going to contain information that Ozymandias wouldn't want you to know. So he was kind of giving a warning to the other kobolds, like, hey, if you look at all this, you're going to be in trouble. But you guys are like, we're already in trouble anyway, let's break the seal. And with that, here's the full list of Worley's contingency plans, including the bits that were hidden behind the seal.
Ooh. Also, the trombone game, you have to move your mouse like a trombone.
Oh
So
no.
you like push it forward and back.
Excellent.
Yep.
That is pretty great. That is a lot to read. It's a big old lore dump. In the meantime, you guys do get a short rest. The night goes smoothly. I assume that the guards keep a watch and that you guys will probably join them for at least some of it. However, everything does go smoothly, and you can mark yourself a new day.
Oh, we short rested.
You do. You got a short rest. In the morning, as you all rise, for most of you, it's probably a bit of an unusual affair. And even in this state of emergency, it's a little bizarre. But there is a sense of familiarity and comfort to you, Gale, when you hear, for the first time in a very long time, the royal dinner bell, breakfast bell. I guess it would be the same thing. You hear the sound of a little cart rolling down the hall, and a little trio of kobolds in chef garbs and little hats, pushing a cart with a couple of silver platters on it. Domed meals, you can see steam pouring out from under the lids. I don't know if you're sleeping alone or if everybody else is kind of huddled up in a room with you or how everybody is situated.
He's definitely sleeping in his room on all of the treasure.
Excellent. That sounds about right.
Actually, let me double check a thing real quick.
Sure thing, sure thing.
Roll for back.
I should do that though. Yeah, this isn't a ritual. Oh, I don't have it prepared anyways. It's fine. I just sleep on the treasure like Scrooge McDuck.
Hell yeah. Then this little trio of kobolds knocks on the door and kind of waits for a response before they just come barging in. Master Kale, breakfast is ready.
Thank you. Do I recognize any of these people?
Absolutely. These, so it's kind of a rotating cast in the crew, but you do see that. Double check the names real quick.
You don't have to make up names. I just.
No, I had one for the chef and it was funny, and I gotta go look it up real quick.
Okay.
Oh, it's flambe, but it's spelled EXE at the end, so it's like flambex. Anyway, flambex. Head chef flambe and his two associates, his two minions, make their way in. You can see flambe is kind of yellow scaled like you are, but he has these markings like a curled mustache. You know exactly the one, the crazy chef mustache.
Yeah.
And he kind of wheels
The
in.
one I could never grow.
Yeah, such a shame. It's such an important part of being a world-renowned chef. Wheels in this cart, kind of clattering over just strewn coins and treasure and stuff, and brings it all in. And he presents to you just this extremely luxurious 6-course breakfast meal. There is some roast fish, there's some quail. Importantly, as he's presenting all of this, there's like rice pilaf. There's a big old tower of flapjacks. But importantly, there is on this tray next to all of the food a vial of antidote. And it's like, we think that all of this food is clean, yeah. But just in case, I recommend you take a dose of this. Just in case some of it, is still contaminated. I take great pride in my work. I wouldn't want you to get sick again after all of this. It would be very bad. We've just gotten free.
Thank you for your concern and your thoroughness. I'll dig into the flapjacks.
Of course, it is so good to have you back, sir. It's so good to have you back. It was a big mouth to feed. And frankly, you're much nicer than they were.
He just kind of thinks on that for a bit.
He doesn't linger on it. He gives a bow and excuses himself, tuts off with all of the other cooks. And if anybody is sleeping in separate rooms, one at a time, you kind of have these 3 wheel in breakfast for you, along with antidote just in case.
How is it?
Let's find out.
It's terrible. The worst swill you've ever eaten.
I'm a trained chef. It might be.
They're making do. You can tell that they're running on low reserves. They're using
18 is pretty good.
It is good, but Nordo is a legend. This is not legendary food, and this is, you wouldn't even describe this as royal food. This is, if you were to go to a night, like if you were to go to a tavern, you'd be like, wow, this is probably the best food in the city. If you were to go to a palace and have this, you'd be like, they must be having some supply issues or something, which is definitely the case.
I'll just add a little bit of my own seasonings and stuff to it.
Perfect. Excellent. Let's see. They have started bringing in. Actually, no, nobody is coming in. The kobolds that were already here and that have left mind control have slowly been just cleaning up. They're not even at the point where they're like organizing loot or trying to do restoration programs. There's a giant hole in the floor that they got to deal with first. They're just doing cleanup efforts. And once they kind of catch wind that, Gale is awake, we can start making noise. You do start to hear hammering and clanking and the pushing of things around as rocks get pushed into the corner. Stuff like that. There are a couple of these royal guards stationed outside your door the entire time.
I hang in my room eating flapjacks and just reading over this contingency plan.
Excellent. Everyone else probably does notice that Gale sleeps in a little bit later than normal, or at least lingers in his room after he's already awake. I'm sure most of you are kind of just waiting to hear from him, but if you have anything else that you wanted to do early in the morning, hit me up.
I think Flurgil sleeps in. He doesn't make plans.
Perfect. You do notice... I'm remembering, are you starting to get a little crackly? You're starting to get a little dry? Is that a thing for you?
That's up to you. What have you decided for this
I-
race?
I mean, you went through the waterworks yesterday. You're probably fine.
I probably slept in the water. That's
Yeah. If
We probably got some big ass royal baths somewhere.
Absolutely.
is it the sleeping in the bathtub? I don't know what you wrote for Kuatoa, if they need water or if that's just something.
I assume they probably have like the limited amphibiousness thing where they just have to dunk themselves for a little bit every
Let's
day.
see. It just says amphibious. You can breathe air and water, and I have sunlight sensitivity. I'm also slippery.
Perfect.
That's the thing about like needing water. So, yeah, I guess like I don't dry out.
All right, perfect.
I probably do get in the water though because it's more comfortable.
As each of you wakes up, the staff here, most of you would not be like you guys have stayed in a nice hotel before. You've had places where people will bring you a towel, they'll bring you room service. Most of you have not been waited on hand and foot as if you were guests of the actual prince. There are, at your beck and call at any given time, anywhere between 4 and 20 kobolds that don't let you do anything yourselves unless you demand it. They are putting on your clothes. They are making your bed. The second that you roll out of bed, 3 kobolds rush over and begin, straightening out the sheets, fluffing the pillow, spraying with perfume.
Excuse me, are you going to wash those first?
This one guy.
Yeah, without
Is that
hesitation, you watch as all 4 of the kobolds just immediately climb up into the bed and begin stripping it down. The comforter comes off, the sheet comes down, the pillows come off, and pop, 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 and then just start rushing it off towards the laundry room.
Oh, this is ridiculous. I'm going to enjoy it while I'm here. That's
I
fine.
was about to say, I think your frog is showing.
A little bit.
Nordo for sure feels like. Well, first when they walk into his room, he rings his bell to show his good manners.
You,
And then when probably what he thinks is when they start making the bed, he feels like bad that he this is what you're supposed to do, so he helps. He's like, oh, sorry about that. I don't know I was supposed to do that.
no, of course not. No, we can handle that for you. Please, it's our honor, our privilege. And you do notice that when you ring the bell, every eye in the room just snaps to you, and they straighten up, shoulders squared. They're looking at you with anticipation, like they want you to do something or say something.
All right then. Just weirdly put down the sheet and just awkwardly watch them work.
There is a point in all of this when this very elderly kobold wearing Kind of the staff uniform, but you can tell that it's a little more, or a little nicer. It's kind of gilded around the edges, and it's got this big red brooch. And she's got these like baggy eyes. She's probably the human equivalent of in her 70s or 80s. And she comes over and starts just like making sure that your drawers are straightened, that there's no stray laundry scattered throughout the room. And she does look at you and Nordo, and she's like, I take it you're not really accustomed to this sort of accommodations.
He looks around for Ace, who isn't here. No, these sort of accommodations are different for me.
Well, we're here to make you comfortable, and if that means leaving you alone, we can do that, but we are happy to help as much as we want.
No, that's all right. I hate to get in your way. I might just go for a little walk. Or you... So y'all are Gale's people, then?
Yes, I am head of staff Maxilla. These are all of your cleaning crew. We're here to wait on you hand and foot, bring you anything that you need. Frankly, normally we would be much busier, but most of the people that we normally served aren't with us anymore, so it's just you guys. You have all of our attention right now. And we owe all of that to you. They've been trained not to ogle too much while they're on duty, but you guys saved our lives. You're heroes.
Oh, it was really all Gale. He worked awful damn hard to get back to y'all. I hope y'all know how much it meant to him.
Between me and you, he was always my second or third favorite for the throne. He's a good guy.
There's a lot of folk in line for that throne, huh?
Sure are. It is the nature of things. All the same, it doesn't really matter too much is on there. We have a figurehead, and his rule is important, but if a real king follows the will of his people, and I think that every king we've had has been lucky enough to know that until this most recent one. I'm kind of looking at the giant hole in the ground and what remains of the corpse downstairs.
Well, I don't know much about royalty or nothing, but I can tell you that if Gale ever gets to be king, he'll be a damn fine one.
Oh, let's see. Is he planning on taking it?
I don't think so. Every time I bring it up, it kind of seems like a sore subject, but the way I sees it, it's the ones what don't think they should be what probably should.
Yeah. I would be delighted if that ends up being true. Now, for the time being, I'm going to go fetch some things from the kitchen. Do you take coffee, tea?
Oh, I'll just make my own. I appreciate it, though. I'm take myself a little bit of a stroll, but appreciate y'all. And he walks up to each kobold in the room, rings the bell once for each of them, and then goes for a walk.
When you leave, you do hear like at ease. I don't think he knows what the bell means. They all kind of go back to work.
Housekeeping. Show needs his pillow fluff.
Oh my god, there is just this duo of little red kobolds, light-scaled, almost pink, and they come in, one of them with a little feather duster, one of them with white gloves, and they just begin to fluff his pillow. After that, they begin, like, preening his feathers for him, or her, I always forget. I think we both forget.
Yeah, it's ambiguous.
For Shu, their feathers.
Yeah.
Shu
is gender fluid.
They do actually see one of them brings out some like scale oil that's lightly perfumed and begins doing the legs, the beak. Shu just gets the absolute royal treatment for about 20 minutes.
I've decided that I'm going to act out the entirety of Dunstan Checks In with Dunstan. I'll be back if you need me in like 8 hours.
I don't know what that is.
Excellent.
But
It's
I'm
a
gonna
great
get
book.
But I'm gonna get my talons rubbed too.
Oh yeah, they will happily move on to you next if you want.
Just the scaly parts of my arms. Anything else feels weird. And I do tip them. That's probably not like normal, but I do it.
No, they will absolutely accommodate. They bring in like 2 or 3 extra people and just get straight to work. And then like a short time after that, the second breakfast rolls in, which is just breakfast but sweeter this time. There's a lot of chocolate involved, a little bit of syrup.
They have fritters.
Absolutely, they have fritters.
Nordo passes on sweets. As delicious as they sound to me.
Gil's gonna come out with just a haunted look on his face and just gonna go for a walk too. If I come across any of the cleaning staff, I'm going to give them my Fantasia broom that we got in Arcturus. And say, this probably won't help much, but
Oh, they are happy to have it regardless. Also, I'll be right back. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves for a second.
So, what do they call biscuits and gravy? Because was it cookies and gravy? Was that what we call it? Because like obviously biscuits are. I'm saying biscuits wrong in the wrong way now. But it's the right way.
I actually
but it's
have
the
to
wrong
know
way.
this now.
Yeah, I need to know.
I'm pretty sure it's toast rounds and meat juice.
They hate that a lot.
Don't serve me! Don't serve me! I can't afford it. Shooing people away. He's not sure what's going on.
Okay. I
And
know that
apparently
Google,
they just think we're crazy.
Right, that's what I'm finding too from the Googling.
I know that Google is listening to me though, because as soon as I typed "what do they call biscuits," it finished "and gravy in England."
There's just a sudden surge on Google of 10 people Googling that all at the same instant, so
Yeah.
it just trended for you. Seriously, it looks like maybe British people just don't have British biscuits and gravy, or
Yeah.
maybe even biscuits at all, as far as I can tell,
No,
which is insane.
that's not a thing here.
That's the craziest thing I've
Crazy
ever
shit.
heard.
Crazy shit.
Yeah, I guess they call biscuits. The closest thing would be scones, maybe. But also, I see like someone asked if you want biscuits and gravy in Britain, what would you ask for? And the first 2 responses are counseling and a padded cell. So,
Yep.
yeah, they don't take
Madness.
kindly to
That's
biscuits
like
and gravy over
that's
there.
like asking for ranch here. You fucking crazy
Yeah.
Americans. Ask for go back to America and get your weird food.
Biscuits and gravy is the straight up #1 best breakfast that exists.
Oh, no.
Get out of town. Besides
That's
chicken and
funny.
waffles,
Oh, it's good, but there's so many
Chicken and
better
waffles
ones.
is really good. Yeah, I like French toast is really good too.
Isn't it just bread and like animal fat? I don't know.
Essentially,
I mean,
it's like big, like fluffy clouds of buttery bread
Usually it's a buttermilk biscuit,
A
It's like
scone?
buttermilk gravy.
sausage in it. Sausage.
I hear that scones aren't exactly the same as biscuits.
Well, I think the scones we get over here are different
Yeah.
than what they call scones
Yeah,
there.
they're-
'Cause
they're all
here-
Yeah,
different.
they are.
Yeah, here the scones we get are like horrible dry little triangles
Yeah.
that they pretend
Incorrect.
that you eat with
Incorrect.
coffee.
They're delicious.
Factually correct. I'm totally with Vasu. Scones
now,
are
okay,
worthless.
there are bad scones and good scones. There's
Yeah.
a high skill
Okay,
ceiling
like-
on scones.
I will say it, like I've had for every 10 scones I've had, maybe 2 of them have been good.
Okay, I'll buy
All
that.
of-
That actually
most
sounds reasonable.
Most of
That
them
sounds
are
about right,
incredibly
yeah.
dry and awful, but
The
I have
best.
had like cranberry orange scones a couple of times that were fucking great.
Mm.
You just
Yep.
nobody ever makes them moist enough.
Exactly. They have to be soft, they have to be warm, and they have to be moist.
Panera
best-
actually does decent ones most of the time.
The best scone I've ever had was maybe like 20% better than the worst one. Like the very best scone
Yeah.
is just not that good.
That is saying, like if
The
you're
tea
going for like a
biscuits?
breakfast pastry, the scone is the low bar.
Yeah, it's a bottom of the barrel option.
Yeah.
Just
Tea
bad.
biscuits and gravy. I get it. Yeah. When you ask for biscuits here, that's like cookies.
Cookies,
Right.
yeah.
You know,
What do you
So,
guys
like,
call
when-
your
if you
biscuits?
want-
So
we
were just talking
don't.
about that. They just don't have
They
biscuits.
just don't
Biscuit-
have them.
Biscuits are biscuits. That's what cookies are. We don't have cookies.
What do they call English muffins in England?
Muffins.
What are
Muffins?
Just-
English muffins,
Muffs.
now, on the other hand, are the number
What
one
are
form of
English
bread in
muffins?
existence.
Oh no.
What are English muffins?
No, English muffins? Like they're fine. They're not even like they're top half. I'll get
They're the
top
number one
They're-
bread.
I
They're
wouldn't
good for
call him number
breakfast
one.
sandwiches, but that's it.
The
I
very
wouldn't
best
call him
bread.
number one.
I can't
I'd
say
say
what's better.
fucking tangent. What's going on D&D?
Yeah, okay, sorry, I am back. There was a they just announced the MFF lotto, and
Ah.
we had some good results, but we'll talk about that later.
Oh.
Um,
Yeah, Flurgle is struggling with everyone trying to serve him. He's never been served before. He thinks he has to pay for it, and he has no money. So he's just like, no, don't. I'll fix myself. Show me your dead. How do you prepare your dead?
all right, yeah, so it's this bizarre thing where they get the impression that this is what you want, not because you think you're poor or you can't afford it, but because, like, you know, royalty and their guests usually act weird. So what they do is when you say that you don't want their help and their free food, and instead you want to help them prepare the dead, they suddenly
Oh no, he
become-
literally says, "I can't afford this."
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Then Maxilla is like, oh, sweetie, no, of course, you're a legend here. You're a hero and our guest, most importantly. Everything here, eat as much as you can or it's going to go to waste. You're part of the family while you're here. You don't owe us anything.
You are all my brothers and sisters under. Then he thinks about it. No,
Nomad?
I don't know if it's okay to say that. Still, it's you. He's like, we replaced the old one. Do you all know of Nomad?
We don't. I don't believe. I'm not very religious, I must admit, but I don't believe I've heard of a nomad.
Ah, good. It's complicated shit. Don't worry about it. Go. Show me your dad. How do you take care of them?
Well, come with me and I'll help you get sorted out with the cleaning crew.
He does help himself to some breakfast.
Perfect. She dotes as much as you want, and then when you're ready, she'll take you down there, and you can start working with the kobolds that are, they're kind of intentionally not touching Ozadirith, because they kind of get the impression that that's Gale's bit, and they want to check with Gale before doing anything with it. Most of it
Wide berth.
Yeah, kind of a wide berth. They're doing a lot of cleaning, and they're getting all the other bodies. There's these young green dragons that they're getting cleaned up, hauling onto carts, cleaning up blood spills. They are also doing rites for the fallen kobolds. There are some, I think there were very few casualties during the battle themselves, but as you guys scour the palace and get kind of familiar, you do find that in the storage closets and in some of the bathrooms, there are the bodies of servants that were killed. Some of them look partially eaten. It is grotesque. It is unpleasant work. The kobolds have this sense of... it's bizarre. There's a solemnness and a somberness to it. There has clearly been tragedy here. But there is almost like this resurgent air of celebration that it's more important that it is over now than to dwell on the bad things that happened. It's not that they're excited to go clean up all these dead bodies, but they view it as a bit of an honor to grab all of their fallen and get them prepared for burial, to find their names and remember them. It almost feels to you like this is a time-honored tradition of, yeah, we die a whole lot, and the important thing is that we did it for the good of the clan. And many of them are even like, oh, I saw him go down. He bravely grabbed a dagger and charged at him as he was coming through the foyer. A lot of them are doing their best to remember how each of them died, or when they don't know or don't remember, they make something up. They come up with stories like, oh, this guy, look at that, he must have been using a sword. I'll bet he was so brave. There is this
Largo.
sense of honor and heroification that is put upon these dead kobolds.
Flurgle, knowing a bunch of these people were mind controlled to attack us, including the king, says nothing about those ones.
Fair.
It's just like, yes, they fought bravely,
Understood.
mindlessly even.
As all of this is going on, unless Gale is intentionally doing it sneaky, but it didn't sound like it. Some of you would probably notice that Gale does finally come out of his room. He offers the magical broom to the cleaning staff. This just kind of sullen, sunken look on his face, and says that he's going to go for a walk.
I go to the baths.
Excellent, yeah. You make your way over to the baths. You can see that It is an opulent royal bathroom, and it is currently also filled to the brim with treasure. They empty out like a little corner of the bath and begin drawing it. Hot water begins to fill. You're you if when you hop into the bath, you're surrounded by just like a pile of golden coins in the bath with you.
Yeah, I don't get into the bath. I go over there, I grab like a sponge or a rag or something, and I just start cleaning all of the blood off of Toto.
Understood. The whole time he stays real close by your side. He doesn't emote a ton, but you do get this sense that he's staying close to you. He's making sure that you're not alone in this place. You do even kind of catch little bits of these robotic tail wags as he goes to rooms that he has not seen for a long time. You see that he kind of like spins in a circle when he walks in the door of the bathroom, becoming reacquainted with the new layout and all of the junk that's been piled everywhere. And then when you get in there, he stands still and he lifts up one paw at a time for you to clean the blood off. Kind of lowers himself down so you can get the back between his shoulders. After a couple minutes of silence of you just kind of scrubbing the blood off of him, he does turn his head to you, and with this programmed voice, your own voice, put through some distortion and modules, he just kind of says the word safe.
Are there any servants around?
If you've asked for privacy, they would have left by now.
I probably would have asked for some privacy. It just tugs Toto for a bit.
He very gently kind of raises one of these big metal paws and puts it around on your back and taps it a couple times, careful not to squeeze too hard. Safe.
Where's this all happening at?
In the bathroom.
In the royal bath.
Sure. Can I roll a luck check to just randomly wander in there while this
You
is
can
happening?
absolutely just wander in randomly. There's 30 doors. There's like
Perfect.
a million doors in this place. Like,
I don't want to like spoil your moment, but
no,
I will say Nordo is like looking for like
I appreciate
every
the
time-
cinematic timing of it.
every time that Nordo has been in like a fancy place, like even just an inn, he's been able to find like a small tub or body of water to sleep in, and that wasn't in his room, so he's like looking for the bodies of water to sleep in. So it would kind of make sense, I guess. He'll walk in with narrative timing as you're snuggling Toto. Probably. Well, hold on.
Pull away and immediately point the gun at the door and then calm down.
1 second. He'll just kind of step in and sit down in the water next to Toto where he's getting bathed. Anything particular on that read? I feel like I know what's going on, but does Nordo know something that I don't?
I mean, probably already get the idea. I don't think Nordo has read the document yet.
No, yeah, he can't read that.
But you can see there's definitely this just like haunted, kind of glassed over look in Gale's eyes. And
Okay.
It doesn't look like he's been crying necessarily, but he's definitely been in a weird headspace of just deep, kind of toxic thought.
Right. I think Nordo probably like misattributes it, or at least attributes it to maybe something that isn't the whole reason, based on like the events of what happened after Azadirth's death.
Yeah.
He probably just says like he'll like sit down in the water and light his tobacco pipe. Say, when we found Anton finally, and I got to see him go, see the light leave him. I ain't got enough fingers to count the number of times that I'd fantasized about that moment. And it wasn't what I expected. But he's gone now. He can't hurt anybody else, and that's what matters.
Yeah. My mother is dead.
You're, forgive me, I don't think we've ever talked about this. Did you think she was going to be alive when you came back here? Did you know what had happened to them before you left?
No, I didn't really know. I guess it was. I wasn't really hopeful. It's just knowing.
He'll just kind of place a big Nordo arm around Gale and give him a big hug.
Yeah, Gale leans into you.
The other thing that I'd sort of hoped that when I took Anton's life that it would make me, I don't know, bring some sort of closure to losing my dad. And it didn't. So I don't know if that's going to go away. Suppose probably not.
Yeah. I'm Ozymandias' grandson.
Beg pardon.
Oh, and I'll take out the notes that are definitely like been crumpled up and unfolded several times.
Yeah. There's this writing and this meticulous, clean penmanship. Although it's Draconic, I don't know if Nordor reads Draconic.
Yeah, I'll read it and translate it.
I was going to say, you probably couldn't read it even if it was in common. There's
Yeah.
certain
Yeah.
words in there. I don't know what to say. Does this change how you view him, I guess? How you want to deal with him?
Not really. But
Is there any chance this is some kind of trick? Something to mess with your head? What? Has he planted or something?
maybe. It seems very elaborate and well placed for something like that.
Just seems like he's always got one scheme or another cooking. But I guess it would have been a tough trick to pull off.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have to open it. After you killed Anton, did you ever worry that you were similar?
Not after. I worried about that a lot for years before I met all y'all, and even for some of the time while we've been together, but not after. I knew that I knew that getting rid of him made the world a better place. And I know for sure that getting rid of Ozydirith made this a better place here in Storm Cellar. It was a good thing what we did here. It ain't gonna feel like that all the time. But it was. People are better off, your people.
Yeah. I hope so.
I know so. Talked to, oh hell, I didn't even think to get her name. Old lady who was cleaning up my room. Did you know that they, like, come around and clean up rooms here?
Yeah. I honestly, I didn't even think to warn you guys because I didn't think that that's what they would be focusing on yet. But I kind of feel bad. I should probably tell them all to take a holiday.
Well, I mean, honestly, the truth was I didn't really understand what's going on, so I tried to step in and help them a little bit, and they kind of told me off, and they seemed happy. They seemed relieved to be getting back to get back to their lives.
That's good.
It is. I know you don't all the way believe that yet, but you will, I think.
It just because it's our with there for a bit.
Yeah, Nordo finished up his tobacco pipe and then probably starts to doze off a little bit in the water.
As they both fall asleep in the water, Toto's like, danger, danger.
Not safe at all.
Cheer on your whale friend from a safe distance.
It's doing that thing that nervous cats and dogs do when you take a shower where they're like, oh my god, are you drowning? Are you drowning? Are you drowning? Is everything okay? It's like sitting at the edge.
Yeah, I was just
Every-
pacing.
Every time I take a shower and Raz sits between the curtains
Yep.
screaming at me.
Yep. There, some time passes. You guys kind of continue to just chill in the baths, or work on the bodies, or eat breakfast, or just enjoy the lap of luxury as Flick has done. Around 9 or 10 a.m. or so, you guess. Actually, there'd be clocks over this place. Around 9 or 10 a.m., you hear, at first, the distant pop of explosions. And then you hear a couple that are a little bit closer. But for those of you who are a little more familiar with the sounds, it's not the explosions of TNT or dynamite or mining or even a spell. It is the crackle and the shimmer of a firework. Several fireworks. And although it is distant, you hear little draconic yip-yak hoots and hollers off in the distance through some of the windows. This does strike you as a little unusual because, as far as you know, there's still dragons out there. But at 10 in the morning, you hear fireworks going off and the sounds of distant celebration.
I assume that wakes Nordo up and he like springs up and draws his axe like he's about to have to go fight. But
Same. I think we both will rush to the front gate.
right.
Make sure no dragons start coming.
Yeah. You kind of head over to the front gate, throw it open, look out the windows, try to get a lay of things. And what you see, up at the top of this enormous cavern that has been built into Storm Cellar, there is a rift that has been torn, some sort of a teleportation portal. And you watch as one by one these enormous shadows of dragons from all over the city begin to fly up towards the rift. kind of retreating into the portal and then in the blink of an eye disappearing. On the streets, you see kobolds in swaths, armed with pitchforks, mining picks, daggers, chairs, whatever they can get their hands on, hunting down and brutally murdering cultists.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Count me in.
You see revolution on the streets, and you can see that farther back, farther away from the front gate, or from the front gate, and especially from kind of the industrial quarter, fireworks that kind of just being shot off as part of the riot, part of the celebration, just a signal that something is going on. And you can see that these swarms are all kind of beginning to close in around this central mage district, where you would know the cult was cooped up for a long time.
Oh man, how far away is this portal?
The portal is up at the very top of the cavern, which is probably like, I don't know, maybe. Oh God, I'm gonna get this wrong. It's probably like 500 feet straight up from this weird point down here, which is like
Okay,
maybe 400 feet horizontally from where you're at.
right. But we're on a slightly raised platform comparatively.
I'll call it like 400 horizontal, 400 vertical, whatever that Pythagorean is. Let's go see. Yeah, about 560.
Really interesting. I'll break out the gun and start
Hell
taking
yeah,
some hot shots.
absolutely. Yeah, give me a handful of shots.
Before I do that and fuck things up terribly. Do I? What kind of? How does this gun work?
Your gun?
Yeah.
I don't know. You tell me. I assume that it is probably a.
Is it like a musket where I'm putting powder in and then a ball bearing or whatever?
I assume so. I assume that was because it is magic. It's probably a little bit more advanced. It's probably like bolt action, maybe, or at least like chamber loaded. But yeah, it would be something along the idea of you open a chamber, you put in powder, you put in the ball, you stuff it, or some sort of mechanism automatically packs it for you, and then you fire.
Right. So theoretically, I could put something in there that wasn't a bullet.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
It's gonna have reduced range and whatnot, but yeah. It's a magic weapon, maybe. Depends on what it's shaped like.
Okay. I want to use. I want to use my terrible artificer level 1 ability
Ooh.
that no one ever uses because it's terrible and does almost nothing. To magically tinker a ball bearing to do something relatively innocuous. Nothing particular, just to mark it, essentially.
Sure.
And I want to try and fire it into one of these dragons.
Oh, okay. I see what you're going for. All right, excellent. Yep, I got it. And are you trying to fire it directly into the portal, or trying to get it like lodged in one of the dragons?
First one is going to be aiming for one of the dragon First one, I'm gonna try and get it into the portal.
Okay.
And then I'll try and do, if it's still open for a little bit, I'll try and get another shot off into one of the dragons to see if I can theoretically track both.
Absolutely. Give me a couple of attack rolls. As this is all going on, you see that these fireworks that are going off, some of them are just kind of being shot up into the sky willy-nilly, possibly for celebration. You see some of them are aimed at the escaping dragons, and they are trying to, like, shoot these dragons down with fireworks.
18 and 21.
The 18, you watch as it drops, and it kind of just catches a weird spin. The rifling is off, and it drops a little, and it kind of just plinks harmlessly off into the distance. But then you line up your second shot, the 21. You begin to lead one of the dragons that is limping its way up. The one closest to you, line up a shot, and you watch almost in slow motion as this little pellet just whizzes off into the distance, and then sinks in with into this thing's thigh. The dragon dodges a couple of these fireworks that go off right next to him. You see a big chunk of his wing become scorched, colorful flames kind of bending one of the digits. But with one final push, he reaches up to the portal and is snatched away, presumably with the bullet still embedded in his thigh.
Cool.
You see way back at the back, kind of from the south, one of the last dragons looks just haggard. It looks like he was probably the one. In fact, it would be the Topaz one that was working at the front gate. You watch as one of its wings is bent in this horrible, awkward manner. It's barely able to get enough altitude to stay off the ground at all, let alone get to the portal. And you watch as, like the crowd in a stadium at a soccer match, these kobolds are cheering every time a firework does a near miss. And you watch as one kind of soars past its head, one kind of clips its wing, and it falters for a bit, and the crowd erupts in applause. The next one goes wide, and everybody holds their breath. And then finally, you watch as a pair of these long-tailed fireworks from way down here in the darkest region of the city begin to just trail up on an intercept path. They go quiet for a moment, and then all at once there is this brilliant flash of white, as right next to this topaz dragon's head, a firework erupts. You watch as he is rocked back in a concussion, and the body of this topaz dragon plummets down to the street below. You watch as the crowd erupts in cheers and then begins to descend on this dragon with weapons.
Cool.
Cool. Well, at least they seem to have things handled.
I was gonna say that was there's some incredible weapons they're using. What are those things? He points up at the fireworks.
Oh, I was going to say, oh, those are pitchforks for farming.
He's seen pitchforks before. I don't think he's ever seen a firework before.
Those are fireworks. I don't know why we use them in a cave. Don't really know why we have those at all, but
You would know they are definitely not supposed to be set off inside the cave, for sure.
most intelligent city of kobolds ever made, and they're gonna cave the whole city in on us. Yeah, those are fireworks. We use them for celebration. Honestly, I don't know. Well, they're supposed to be for celebration, but we never really use them because we're not supposed to use them in the cave because they're explosions and cave the cave in. And we can't use them outside because there's a storm going on constantly. So yeah, I don't know why we have them, but they're real convenient right now.
You would know that sometimes, not at the front door because there's like too much risk of danger, but people will sometimes go up past the barracks to the back door for festivals. And there's kind of a big, like an enormous covered awning of sorts. Awning is the right or the wrong word for it, but it's like a covered part of the mountain that is technically outdoors, but it is like carved into the side of the mountain. And it is plenty big enough for people to set off fireworks. And also it's stone, so, you know, they're not going to catch anything on fire.
Right.
Nordo just like smiles and he's like, well, if they work for celebrating and for killing dragons, and sounds like today's the day they were made for.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, little dragon, let's go check it out.
All right, and I'll get my things and start heading down with Nordo.
Should we get the gang or just wander down there? Vasu was getting his feet rubbed, I think.
Yeah, I assume you
Not
guys.
just a manicure.
I heard Flick complaining about his pillow.
Getting a mani-pedi together.
Flurgle, I think, is like prophesizing.
Yeah, Flurgle is like in there doing hard, gross manual labor. Flick and Vasu, I assume, are back to back with cucumber rings over their eyes, towels around their heads, just with
Yeah.
them propped up. A dozen kobolds attending to their every need, sipping mimosas.
Again, Vasu feels weird getting his feet rubbed, but he's getting a manicure. And if he hears people are hunting down cultists, he's on that. I'll take off that. I will take off that steamy towel right now.
Excellent.
I guess if I have to.
I mean, it looked like the townsfolk had kind of dealt with it for the most part. We were just going to go check it out, see the aftermath. If y'all want to keep getting your feet rubbed or whatever, we ain't here to interrupt.
No,
Well, I
I'm
think
good.
the mask will set in even if I go out with it, so.
Guys, look, they painted my claws.
What color did you get?
Shit, how many fingers does Vasu have? Each of his fingers, on both hands they match are probably like red, green, blue, and whatever the fourth element would be. And then his thumb is something else. I didn't think about this ahead of time.
It's probably better than what I would have done because I'm like boring and I give the elements the colors they should have instead of red, green, yellow, and blue.
What would they be?
I do like kind of a red, orange, white, brown, and blue.
I don't want brown.
Yeah, I know.
Brown.
Oh, this is my brown finger. No thanks.
Yeah, exactly. So you do you. You follow yours.
I had them match my eyes as close as possible. It took them 3 tries, but they got it.
You guys are able to kind of regroup, get armed up.
I wave at all of the people that were pampering us, and I say, "You guys have been great, thank you." And I eat the 2 cucumbers that are over my eyes as a snack.
Perfect.
I ring the concierge bell on the way out of the room.
One of them finally, and this is like the 3rd time that you've rung the bell and he's given you a weird look that you can't quite decipher. Although you have great insight, you can tell he's giving you a weird look. And this guy finally, this one's like, yes. Can I help? What would you like me to do?
Oh, it's just we're in polite company, so it seemed like the thing to do. Y'all are very, very helpful. This place is very fancy, and it's just a bell for when you're in fancy places, I think. It's a way to show you're civilized.
Ah, I see. Very good, sir. Yes. And he looks to everybody else and is like, at ease.
Alright, well, thanks for being civil. Just rings it again and walks out.
He looks to all of them at ease.
I'll never get tired of this. Nordo could roll a 50 insight check. I wouldn't stop doing it.
Also, I've been tipping them as I go the whole time, so I'm going to subtract 100 gold for my...
Oh my god, 100?
Just
Yeah.
$8,000. It's whatever.
Okay, noted.
I was tipping him each probably like 1 gold.
Yeah, for sure.
This is
When when Nordo sees Vasu and Flick tip, he remembers that tipping is a thing, which he had for sure forgotten, and he quickly scampers back to his room. Or is any of the housekeeping people still there?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Great. He'll just give them each a gold piece.
Excellent.
It's
Understood.
sorry, I forgot to be civil earlier, and he just rings the bell for each of them and hands them each a gold. It's all kind of new to me.
Thank you very much, sir. This is unnecessary, but we do appreciate it.
Much obliged.
Flick, if you're tipping 1,000 gold to these kobolds, they are not just at your beck and call, but they are pampering you more than they would probably pamper royalty. You get the full treatment. You get whatever you want.
It's 1 gold at a time, but I'm just assuming I tip them a lot over the
Okay.
time that I'm here.
Gotcha. Excellent.
give them an additional gold every time that they redo your nail polish.
Uh-huh.
All
I
right.
left 1 gold for each pillow and the blanket.
As you guys regroup and begin to step out onto the street, you eventually kind of begin to come across these first crowds of kobolds that are beginning to snap out. You can see that it's kind of a mix. There are definitely some that are in a stupor. They're in a daze. They almost look like they're just, drunk or not sure what's going on. But some of them, with shocking clarity, looked probably like they were the most exposed to the recently antidoted water or to the food, have taken up arms. They have coordinated amongst themselves. And they are basically door-to-door witch-hunting cultists. And without the aid of dragons, it is going remarkably well.
Can I help?
Absolutely. You almost... It's almost a race to, steal kills at this point. It is overwhelmingly in favor of the reawakened kobolds without the support of the dragons here. And it is very clear as you begin to sweep the streets with all of these people, the dragons have fucked off. All of Ozymandias' support seems to have fucked off. Every now and then you'll come across a room where a really clever wizard has paired himself, or kind of hunkered down in a window and is taking cheap shots with a fireball or a scorching or whatnot.
Throw a bomb in there.
But yeah, you've got bombs. You have a full team of adventurers. You are able to get to the kobolds that are injured during these processes, the ones that accidentally step around the corner and set off a glyph of warding or whatever, healing up some of these kobolds on the street. Although you do see that even in all of this chaos, some of the ones that are, when you get to the fallen Topaz Dragon, for instance, you find that some of them, they're dead kobolds there. They're kobolds that died in that ensuing fight. And they are being hoisted up, their bodies are being hoisted up by the survivors, and they are chanting their names over and over. They're calling them heroes. They're retelling the story literally minutes after it happened, of the heroic things that this kobold did. He stabbed him in the eye. This is Gregornox, and he stabbed him in the eye. Things like that. Importantly, as you begin to get into these denser areas, you start to hear hushed whispers and then excited shouts. That's Prince Gale. Prince Gale's back. There is just raucous celebration and applause as you begin to clean the streets with this horde of kobolds that begins to swarm alongside of you.
God,
With
cast
a-
disguise self.
I was about to say, with a 30 insight, A, how's Gale respond or think about all of this walking door to door and killing cultists? And B, how does he respond to being sort of hailed as prince? Obviously, I can't read your mind with an insight check, but gut check.
Right. He seems still very troubled by some of the revelations from that note. And he was always kind of wishy-washy on the whole king thing whenever it was brought up, but now he seems actively pulling away from it.
Right.
Yeah. Kind of feels not necessarily undeserving of it, but just concerned.
Right. He'll at some point during you guys' walk through town just be like, I was talking to the last lady what cleaned my room for me, and she said that you're not necessarily next up. Who is next up with Thousand Years Gone? Who is king right now?
God, I'll list my first to 31st sibling in order.
Yeah, and you would also know that even that order is it's pretty sketchy. There is a lot of room for people to make claims, and a lot of the time it kind of just comes down to a vote anyway. It's very much like a whoever gets the most favor from their siblings is the one that gets elected. It's like a pirate council sort of deal.
Right.
Imagine voting for a monarchy.
Yeah, it really is. It's almost like a small council that votes for the monarch. It's kind of bizarre. But the small
Democratic monarchy.
Yeah, but the people voting are also royalty. It's the nobility electing a monarch, basically.
It's like the just magnificently written ending of Game of Thrones. which was just so well written. We all enjoyed it so much.
All right, this campaign's over now, and I regret everything I've ever done.
Who has a better story than Gale?
How dare you?
Oh, I really don't want this now.
I'm sorry, everyone.
And for as long as you allow them to do it, they continue to basically just kind of parade with you around the city. It's a little bit of a murder parade sometimes, but it's an easy murder parade.
Yes, if I get the sense of the 30 insight that Gale is cool with the murder part of that murder crusade, murder parade, then I'll participate in the murder. But if he seems to have apprehension about the murder part of the murder parade, then I'll not partake in that.
Wherever possible, I do try to encourage people. Like, we have a prison for this.
Yeah.
We have a
Understood.
judicial system.
Understood. When you say that, a couple of the kobolds that are alongside you, one of them is wearing these long, just luxurious blue velvet robes, holds up a staff that's twice as tall as he is, and begins to speak in a booming voice that resonates throughout the entire cavern. By royal decree, we are to take the prisoners alive to the prison! You hear this echo off of the walls of the Storm Cellar cavern over and over until eventually it dims down to nothing.
You got it, Prince.
You hear way off in the distance just resounding applause, like a distant stadium hears this voice and cheers that, a prince has returned.
Oh god, the prison's kind of fucked up. Could you send somebody to repair the prison real quick?
Understood.
You know what? I'm gonna go. There's a ship in the way. I'm gonna go get that ship out of there. Okay.
Alright. You guys make your way.
I'm gonna pull my hood up and just head over to the prison.
Excellent. The rest of the party come with you, or do you continue to crowd control for a bit? It's up to you.
I'll stick with the crowd and just start hucking unconscious kobolds over my shoulders to bring back to the prison when it's fixed.
Understood.
Get a wagon, bring out your dead.
Gale, you're one of the first to arrive. You kind of throw up your cloak and are able to avoid a lot of suspicion. You do see that crowds are descending upon it now with cultists in chains or knocked unconscious and thrown over their shoulders. And when you get there, you find the ship. It's potentially reparable. There are giant claw marks down its side. You can see that there are scorch marks where at least one dragon with a fire breath has done its best to kind of melt away a hole just big enough for people to get into the front gate, and then use leverage to push it off to the side so that the front of the prison's accessible.
No.
It's a wreck, but it might be salvageable.
Well, you did good. I'll try and climb into it and see if I can get this thing to move at all.
Sure. Yeah, give me a vehicles check. It at first does not respond at all, but you're able to kind of feel, because of your affinity for weird magic, where a connection is severed. And you take a moment to kind of jump back out, go down to this area where you find a plate that is bent at a horrible angle in the shell of this thing, with a little bit of percussive maintenance and also just kind of a little bit of magical mending.
Yeah, I can send Toto to do some repairs too, because he's got
Perfect.
his repair ability, so he'll be staying up in the controls, figuring out what's wrong, and sending Toto to do whatever repairs are necessary.
Excellent. Then yeah, with a little bit of magical mending, you watch as this big kind of artery is reconnected. You can tell that, as I've said before, it's kind of a weird blend of organic and inorganic, which makes it difficult to repair. But at the very least, you're able to reconnect it well enough that when you go back inside, it at least reacts. It kind of springs to life. It groans and creaks. You hear the burbling of blood under its veins. But you were able to at least kind of lift it up and limp it off to the side a little bit, get it upright, get it out of the way. You find that it is just crawling at a snail's pace. You see that the weapons are not functioning very well. It's up to you if you want to try to do the size thing. But most of the systems are kind of in just bare minimum operation mode, enough to fly around.
Yeah, I'm not going to try and risk using anything. I basically just want to shove it out of the way of the door so that people can get in and out.
Okay, easy enough to do. You're able to just kind of park it off to the side of it. About the time that you finish doing that, the first stragglers begin to arrive. Mostly kobolds that are riding around on... oh man, what kind of mounts would they have down here? It'd probably be like giant lizards, right?
Canonically, they're dire weasels.
Dire weasel? Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Of course, dude. That's brilliant.
I think that was what the D&D canon was.
Love it. That's presumably where boots came from too, and now I'm even more into it. The first couple of these kind of awakened foot soldiers on dire weasels with cultists in tow begin to approach the prison, and they find you stepping out of this vehicle. Cloak still up, I assume, trying to kind of hide your identity a little bit.
Yep.
And they kind of just give you not a lot of the time of day. They give you an unusual look because it's clear that you just came out of that vehicle, but they are more focused on getting these prisoners down into the prison. You're shouting from inside. You're one of them like, fuck, oh my god, we're at like half capacity. Oh, this whole thing got turned to mud at some point, I think. But you do also hear like some of the cages clanging shut. They find a few that have not been ruined by it. And they just start slapping cuffs and manacles on all of these captured cultists.
Yeah, we're gonna get some people here to repair things.
And sure enough, you do. Not too long later, there's a bunch of masons and smiths and stoneworkers and woodcutters that descend upon this place like an ant colony. They go where they're needed, and you watch as 40 or 50 kobolds just begin, before your very eyes, like an Amish barn raising, begin to rebuild these cages. Some of them begin to pour new cement. Some of them begin to bend bars back into shape with little applications of magical heat. And they get to work on making the place suitable for storing the cultists that have survived.
Is Leo's girlfriend here?
You do find
Poe?
that Poe has kind of been lost in the crowd for a little while, but jumping back to the rest of the party as you're doing this kind of crowd control, this parade sweep, there's a point where just in the perfect stereotypical, like, anarchist rebel outfit, the fingerless gloves, the cloaked hood that only goes down to about shoulder length, war paint over her face, you see that Poe has got just this big fucking scimitar that's probably not made for kobolds. It looks like she probably actually stole it from one of the Abishai. And she is like leading a group around to go gather up all of these cultists. And you lock eyes with her. She would probably recognize all of you. She saw you just yesterday. And she like waves you down and then kind of makes a motion like, we're gonna go in here and sweep the place. After that sweep, as the crowd is emerging and she barks orders for them to go on to the next one, she does kind of come by, pulls her cloak back and lowers her scarf a bit. She says, so, how things go at the palace? Where's Gale?
At the prisons?
He's good? He made it?
Gale is alive.
You don't sound too optimistic. Is he hurt?
He seems a little sad.
Oh, well, you should celebrate. We're saved. He saved us. All of you saved us. We owe you our lives.
It's a little complicated for him, but I think he'll come around. He's happy that everyone's happy. I know that for sure.
I see. On the topic of nobility surviving, I don't suppose he's ever said anything about another one of his brothers? Leo?
He's Actually, I don't know if I should say this for Gale.
Friend Leo! I know Leo.
There we go. Someone's got to.
You know Leo?
He's on the he was on the ship last time, right?
Yeah, he's still there,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. He lived with us for a while. Still there.
Oh, good.
He's helping drive the ship with Leah.
Did he get my letter? Is everything okay? Is he all right?
I don't gossip.
She gives you a look like I don't know if him being alive or not counts. You know what? That's fine. I'll go talk to Gail. Where is he? Where's Gail? You said he's at the prison.
The prison, I think. Yeah, he's just going around with a medicine bag. At some point, he ran out of charges and is like conjuring one.
Excellent. All right. She begins to run off, um, and eventually Gail back at the prison. You do see that Poe kind of comes poking around, looking for you. Eventually locks eyes unless you try to avoid her for some reason.
I do. She's so obnoxious.
She runs up, kind of tries to play it cool at first, but then you see she just kind of gets this glint in her eyes, and she runs up and throws her arms around you. Says, I heard you have Leo. Is Leo okay?
Yeah. I gotta go grab him. It'll be a couple hours, but I'll head over to bring him and Marvel in just a second.
Marvel made it.
Yeah, we got out together.
Ugh, that old bastard. I thought for sure he'd be the first to go. That's great news. That's great news. All right. What can I do? How can I help? How are you?
Do you know how to build a prison?
I can learn.
All right. Maybe.
I can move stuff. I
help.
can carry things.
Yeah, can you help deal with all of these people? Try. I don't know. These are bad people. If some of them get, axed, it's fine. Just make sure that nobody innocent gets hurt. The people weren't themselves.
Yeah. Of course. I'll. Then you see she kind of like wipes the scimitar. Some blood on her cloak. She's like, yeah, of course. No, they're bad people, but due process and all of that. Everybody deserves a. She throws the sword on the ground. Yeah, I'll see what I can do. I'll help.
Thanks. I'll go get Poe and Marvel, and maybe they can help. I need Marvel to figure out Pac, anyways.
That sounds like a good idea. All right. I'll be here.
Thank you. Well, just start heading back, try to find the group, and then see if anybody wants to come and try and get back to the ship for a second.
All right. To kind of speed things up a little bit, you guys are able to get back to the ship and inform them that everything went okay in there. Actually, when you get back to the ship, you do see that all of Flurgle's companions, the Kuatoa, and Leah, are especially glad to see that you've all come back. Leah looks distraught when you approach Nordo. And she doesn't really even bother to play it cool, which is a little unusual for her. She runs up, she hugs you, like, you're okay, everything is okay?
Yeah, are you okay? I was worried about you.
I...
There's some weird stuff. What happened? We was fighting Ozymandias, and then Ozymandias' ghost or spirit or something pulled a spirit of you out of me. It was it was weird, but I saw you when I was fighting him.
He found us. He knows he found us for sure. We were eating, and I dropped, and the kobold or the Kuatoa they dropped. They passed out. I don't remember anything that happened until the visions. It was not good. This dragon, he was saying your name. He was saying my name. He was saying Mom and Dad's names. He was following these threads that were coming out of me. They followed followed it to this big place, this big dome or something, and inside he found them, and then he followed the lines out from them and found Grandma's been dead for before I was born. Found Grandma's mom. I don't know what's going on, but I don't like it. He was when he looked in my eyes, he showed me things I was not I was afraid of. He showed me lightning. He showed me blood. When he found Mom and Dad's, when he looked at Mom, there was a storm. When he looked at Dad's, there was a giant shark. He's reading, he's finding, he's learning. I don't know what he's doing, but I don't like it, and it's real. It had to be real. It wasn't just a dream. The Kuatoa, they think it was a dream or a vision or an omen. It wasn't. It was too real. It couldn't have been. It was magic.
No, I'm sure you're right. I'm sure it is magic. It is. I mean, I don't know nothing about nothing, but this Ozymandias is. He seems to be the one pulling the strings behind every rock we turned over and all this. But this is still the safest place, I think, for you, for everyone. And we're gonna get to Ozymandias and end this whole thing sooner rather than later.
All right. Okay. All right. So, what do? We stay on the ship? What now?
I think we should talk to some people that know better magic than I do. I thought this place was safe from this sort of thing, that people couldn't see in here with magic. So I guess there must be some sort of problem with it. We
The
should talk.
sympathy, says Flurgle.
What's that mean?
All things are connected. The more you know something, stronger the connection. You love Leah very much because you are family. It's why Big Dragon Man, what his name? Sorry, I was not paying attention.
Ozymandias.
Ozymandias.
Ozymandias brought out your connections.
But how? I thought this place was safe.
It should be.
Connections transcend space and time. Can connect to heaven if needed.
But can he get here? The brass tacks. Is everyone safe here, aren't they?
Big shrug.
We have been on guard all day since it happened, and overnight too. Nothing has happened. Some of them.
It wasn't you that he got to. It was me, and it was Flurgle. I guess before I say that, do I know that in character? Do I know that this was
Yeah,
a
it seems
thing
reasonable.
that happened
Definitely
to us in that
signed.
fight?
For,
Okay.
for sure.
This wasn't something that happened to you. It was something that happened to me. He dug into my mind and into Flurgle and found the things that we cared most about. I don't know. I don't think that means that he can get in here. I think he found you through me, but I don't know. I don't think we really know what he did all the way.
Uno,
If you keep moving, it should be fine.
when it happened, Uno, inside the mirror, Uno made a fortress, conjured a whole bunch of skeletons. They were, as far as I know, still in there. There's got to be like 50 skeletons in that mirror right now, armed to the teeth inside of that fortress. A lot of the others are staying in the fortress. They're scared. I don't know if Uno knows what they're talking about, but Uno seems to believe that they got to be careful. Nothing happened.
She knows more than we do. She used to be she used to work with Ozymandias, so if she's worried, then probably everybody should be worried. For now, I think you should come with me until we can figure this out. I don't want you. I don't want you where I can't see you until we know what's going on.
Yeah, she nods. Like already has her weapon in hand, reaches and grabs a backpack she's got sitting on the table there and throws it over her shoulder.
Is Cal around?
Down in the fortress. I can go get him if you want.
Oh, I'll go get him.
All right.
I'll just go find Tim too.
Yeah. You head over to the mirror with anybody else that wants to join, and inside you find this lovely, idyllic kind of neighborhood that your families and friends had all built for themselves in this perfect Sims universe is, for the most part, abandoned. It's empty because at the very center of it there is an adamantine fort built like a turtle dome or an igloo with just
Wow.
arrow slits that are set up with archers at the ready. You can see as soon as you bamf in a series of like 12 skeletons all trained longbows on you, but they don't fire. They recognize you. One of them kind of holds up a hand. And you see a big, big, heavy door kind of creaks open.
Who made this? Just everybody, I guess.
I mean, just the wave of a hand, right? But Uno was the one that kind of designed it.
I guess she would know what's best to protect against him.
I hope so. And you do see that as the door opens, a bunch of people kind of like poke their heads and rush out. And you do see that Cal is among them. He is armed to the teeth. He's in full regalia. It looks that he has kind of like conjured up a new set of armor for himself and put on war paints. He is ready to go. And all alone, you see that Cass is right behind. He is, you know, they're effectively in dream space. There's no reason they can't make themselves the best armaments and armor that they can possibly imagine, and they certainly have.
But can we imagine stat books into existence, read them, and retain their benefits outside of this space?
You can certainly try.
Anyway, sorry for the Munchkin comment.
Good.
I
You do
need
see,
two 22s.
and I know I've mentioned this before, but you do see that even in here, these little blips, these tiny rifts, that just wink open for a moment and then close, they happen even in here. You see just momentary glimpses into what you've come to suspect are other locations or even other worlds.
Motherfucker.
Again, this has been happening for a long time. This is
Yeah, I know. I just forgot about it.
it's not like a new occurrence, but it does kind of strike you as like, oh yeah, that's a thing that's happening even in here. There is some effect that transcends even into demi-planes and onto other planes.
Well, seems to me maybe this place ain't as impervious. I don't know that word. Ain't as strong as we hoped it was, but I still don't know that
Safe.
it ain't the safe, thanks. Still don't know that it ain't the safest place for you. I mean, we're talking about either going to hell or going to fight Ozymandias.
You do find that within this fort, as they kind of escort you in, there is kind of a kill chamber that goes between a pair of turrets, and I know there's a term for this where you have to walk between arrow-slitted walls so that they can just fire on you on the way in. But then immediately past that, the main
The kill room.
the kill room might actually be the real word for it. Might.
Yeah.
I think it is.
But then immediately past that, in the courtyard, in the center of it, there is kind of a silvery portal that everybody is just like, you know, they piled tables around it. Some of them are reading books, trying to pass the time without getting too nervous. You see, everybody's just nervous, but doing their best to keep living their lives until they hear back from you. And when they all look up and see that you guys have returned, there's this wave of relief. Moat's family rushes up and hugs him. Vasu, D is delighted to see you. You can see that there was this genuine look of worry as your friends kind of like all entered and you didn't. And then when you finally come around the corner, you see this just immense relief on his face.
Ha! Caught you worried about me.
I have to assume that you like play it up and you wait outside for like an extra 2 minutes just to fuck with him.
No, I won't do that on purpose. But if I see him like, you know, rush over genuinely like relieved, I gotta be the asshole big brother for a little bit.
Yeah. He
Nah.
like gives you the bird and puts on the stupid smug face, but you can see that there's like a little tear rolling down his cheek.
Yeah, I noogie him, but then I pick him up and give him a big actual hug, and then go over to the rest of my family.
Your mom
Nah.
kind of comes up to your waist, gives you a big hug. What's up, Nora?
No, sorry, carry on.
Everybody is very relieved to have you back. They knew that this was going to be a dangerous mission, but having heard what happened to all of the Kutoa and to Leah, you can tell that everybody is just super on edge the entire time. And they begin to ask how it goes. They ask for a quick story of what happened in there and what the next step is, what you guys are doing next.
Real quick, with a nat 20 for 31, or Cal and D boning. You know how hard I ship them.
Boy.
Do you?
I don't know if I did,
Absolutely.
actually.
Yeah.
I think this might be news to me.
No, I've
I
been saying
failed
this
my
since the very
insight check.
first I dropped something off in Eisenmar. I was like, they're gonna bone.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Okay.
Wait, who are we
boy.
shipping?
D and Cal.
Calendly?
What? Yeah, this
Right?
is news to
This
me
is
too.
news to me.
Does this only exist in my headspace?
D's also
Yeah,
like
it is.
13.
I think he is
Wait,
also
is-
too young for it.
Oh, I didn't know
Cal
he was
is-
that
I
young.
know Cal's also young, so like
Yeah,
a
he's only like
teenage romance
15.
can be a thing.
It's fine.
Yeah, maybe it's not quite it. Okay, it feels weird to call it shipping, but I do kind of support. Maybe it's like two teenage boys like discovering that they're gay together because they're like holding
Yeah.
hands and
Or
stuff.
bi.
That's cute.
Twitter
Or maybe they're
calls-
just best buds. I don't know.
Twitter calls this pro shipping, which is short for problematic shipping.
It's not problematic. This is just what two
But
dudes
also-
do when they're at Bible camp.
Yeah, exactly. This also we've all been 14-year-old
This
gay
isn't-
kids. We know what this
This
experience
isn't
is
Bible
like.
camp.
That's what I'm saying. I dropped my 14-year-old son off at Bible camp with D, and I was like, this is gonna be a thing.
Yeah, no, we've all been human beings at that age before. I'm not going to describe whether or not they're boning because that's weird, but I will roll to see if they're like maybe even
Are they
slightly
friends?
interested in each other.
They can just be best buds. It's fine.
Just
As long
like
I won't
Wing and
accept
Val.
anything less than best buds.
Do they play tag?
As long as they play tag together.
But never lava monster.
They're not that young.
Listen, sometimes when you get drunk, you still want to play Lava Monster.
What
I
is
hope
lava
you're
monster?
not getting drunk.
Because that video of the adorable child talking about corn is the first I've ever heard of lava monster.
I'm assuming its floor is lava, but
Ah, that makes
Right.
kind of sense.
Yeah.
it's just evolved slowly over time to be a monster made out of lava.
Maybe like one kid is on
like
the floor
Blarg.
and is made of lava.
Okay, and he
tries-
pulls you in.
Yeah.
He's the
Well,
Blarg.
I
That's
was
what we
always
did.
the lava monster.
That's what we would do on play structures. You can't touch the sand. You have to stay up, and then somebody pulls you off, and then you smack your head on the side of the play
Right.
structure and get a concussion.
It's a little bit like Floor Baby.
It's kind of like Floor Baby. They don't actually spend a lot of time together.
Oh.
I hate to ruin your ship, but you know.
Come on.
Man, it's like when you put two
I-
Pokemon in the daycare and they don't like each other very
Just-
much, and you just get sad.
Just let me roll it.
You know
There's
what?
that's a pretty fair table.
Yeah, see?
Okay,
Exactly.
there you go.
My ship
There
was
we go.
correct.
You know
They're
what?
dancing around their teen
They're-
feelings.
yeah, there
That's
you
just how I imagined it.
I'll Here's what we'll do. D is oblivious. D is totally oblivious. Hal
I could
is
see that
dancing
100%.
around his teen feelings.
Yeah, this tracks.
There we go. We got
This
it.
is the setup for a great relationship story. I'd watch this rom-com.
Cal has like openly offered him like, hey, we should spar. I'm gonna take my shirt off, you know. And he's like, oh yeah, that's a great idea, dude. Let's do it.
Oh, I'm here for this.
I feel like that 40 should be like a 60.
I want like a buddy cop movie of D and Cal. Gay buddy cops.
Gay buddy cops.
Does that movie exist? Surely there's a big gay buddy cop
Surely.
movie.
No, we're not allowed gays in media. Only lesbians.
That's
There's-
true.
I'm pretty sure there's a lesbian version.
I don't really care for the gays in media.
Anyway. So you guys are able to kind of reassure everyone that at least for the time being, they're on their heels. You've kind of forced a retreat in there. You've retaken the city. It sounds like you guys were planning to bring them all into the city. Is that true?
I wasn't necessarily going to bring everybody, but we can. I was just going to bring Marvel and
Okay.
Leo, just because they should be here.
Excellent.
Could you bring these three as well? I think they miss home a lot.
Oh yeah, the little kobold
Oh,
apprentices.
right.
Yeah. They
Oh, nomads.
are very eager to join as well. And at the very
Weren't
least,
they all cultists? Should they get executed?
Where are they
I don't think
cultists?
they were. They were miners. They were being forced to work by the cultists.
Oh, that's right.
Wait,
They have
were
professions now.
Hang
I
on,
think they-
no, or were they at Shul's castle?
They were at Shul's castle,
They were at Shul's castle.
Hmm.
but they were
They don't have wings, if that helps.
they were the ones who were like, I guess we're not going to be bad anymore.
Okay.
They're reformed. It's fine.
All right. They are cautious. Not. I mean, obviously they haven't been wearing their cultist robes the entire time they've been doing it.
Of course.
They have docked their old ways.
Slowly waiting for their opportunity to strike.
Yeah. But no,
Yeah, there's James the Trapper, there's Mila the Mason, and there's Rachel the Chef.
absolutely. And one of them was starting to develop sorcerer powers too. I forget
Yeah,
which
it was
one
Sparkener.
Yeah.
That's
Sparkener,
Blast.
Sparkener.
Sparkener.
That's right.
Sparkener, yeah. Moat's
Don't forget.
apprentice.
Yeah, there's also Not Idiot, and
Oh yeah.
there is also Blast Off
Blast
Death
off
Dragon.
Death Phoenix or Death Dragon, right?
Death
had to
Dragon,
separate himself. Yeah.
I'm so proud
Yeah.
of him.
I think I was also
I-
teaching one to cook, which had nothing to do with magic or adventuring, but just teaching it how to cook.
Yeah, I think that was Rachel, because there's a
Sounds right.
gastromancer now, apparently. But
Uh,
yeah, I imagine Fluril got close with everyone on the ship because he stayed on the ship
Absolutely.
more than anyone else until recently.
That's true. You probably know all of the crew like way better than.
Oh
most
no,
of them.
they're actually my found family at this point. They've
Yeah.
been together for months.
For sure.
Y'all having adventures. It's amazing.
Unless you guys intentionally leave the ship at the beach, I'll assume you at least bring it up to the front gate. That way you don't have to like go through the underwater tunnel or walk the long way around or whatever.
Okay.
But then you can leave most of the party in the ship. And again, please stop me if you guys have another plan. That's totally fine.
I just want to give you a wellness check while we're here.
Um,
Alive, dead?
Yule is
Never
alive and well,
existed.
and she actually, it's funny you mention it. Yule, as you guys are getting ready to like move the ship and go on, does kind of mention, I just got a very peculiar message from Willingquet. It sounds like they've remade a connection with Stormcellar. It sounds like your mission was a success. They've retaken the control tower.
Grandmother.
Yeah.
Do you know that this is the first time you've spoken in 6 months?
To you, maybe, but that's just because I've been busy with more important things.
She makes the biscuits.
Truly, we thought you were dead for several months.
Didn't Sochi show up like at least a month or two ago for like 5 minutes, maybe?
Yeah,
I
he
forget.
played like half a session
Yeah,
in
something
the
like that.
Undersea
That's right,
Pleiades.
that's right, in Pleiades, I remember that. Which was probably like 7 months ago, for all I know. God.
Yeah, that wasn't.
It was
that
way
wasn't last
longer than
month.
7 months ago, for the record.
Oh my God, this fucking pandemic. Anyway,
That was 2 years ago, Vic. No.
I wasn't supposed to mention anything, but they did want me to maybe do a check-in while I was here to make sure that it was not a ruse before they send an official diplomatic team to reestablish a connection. It was really you guys that retook it? The city's safe?
Yeah, it's all safe. I think probably we ought to talk to Little Dragon about any official diplomats coming here or nothing.
Understood.
I don't actually know what any of that means. But
The tides of diplomacy are inexorable. It's only my job to report.
I don't know what that means in Unga Bunga,
I
sorry.
was going to say that's right over Nordo's head.
She will give
Let's
all
not
of
act
you
like Sochi knows the word inexorable.
True. She will also give all of you candy and enough food to heal you fully if you're still missing anything. Although I think you mostly got all of it.
Candy!
Candy!
I'll take it. I want candy.
Perfect.
I want candy.
You guys have a D12 candy for the next 10 minutes. Good luck.
Candy!
But what does she do with her wish spell for this long rest?
I was wrong. There's gay buddy cop movie.
I
Excellent.
knew it. There had to be, right?
Can't think at least.
1982, though. That is not what I was expecting.
So,
Is-
1980s gay movies are a different breed because
Right, it's probably not.
tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, it's probably not like a good take.
It's
It's
a
probably
mean,
yeah.
I'll bet
It's a
it's a
super
comedy.
campy, definitely offensive. Yeah, where the whole
Yeah.
punchline is they're gay.
Yeah.
The promotional image is one guy with a gun and the other guy with a hairdryer.
Oh,
So
yeah.
My miracle.
His Benson is a cop who wants to clean up the streets. His partner just wants to redecorate.
Oh god.
Delightful. Shaquille O'Neal.
Isn't-
Sorry, wrong person.
Isn't Panty, Stocking, and Garter Belt a lesbian buddy cop?
no, Panty
No.
is very explicitly having sex with men the entire time, and that's
Yeah.
actually like a plot point in the climax.
It's a plot point.
It's an integral plot point.
In the climate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use
There.
that word on purpose.
I'm proud.
Yeah.
That's clever.
All right.
Anime, man.
You guys pull the ship around, get back into the city. Most of the folks stay behind, but you are able to grab Leo, Marvel, Nut Idiot, and the gang, and bring all the kobolds back in and over to the prison or the palace. Or I guess kind of, unless there are any like specific like scenes you want to play out real quick, it's more of a big picture. Like what's the next step? What are you guys doing for the city? Or we can play out little scenes first if you guys have specific things you want to explore.
Just for the record, I am going to bring Leah and Cal with me. I know
Okay.
it's not a sustainable solution to bring our whole families with us on our adventures, but Nordo, like, as soon as he knows that they are not like imminently secure, he doesn't want to take his eyes
Understood.
off of them.
Understood. And I assume probably Moat stays with his family and Ace stays with his family, or with Uno and Joker.
Yeah. Now that the city is cleared, we can just take the ship to the front gate and bring it in.
Excellent. Do you bring it all the way inside?
Yeah, ideally. If we can.
Perfect. And you can. You do find that your people have retaken the control tower and are able to kind of give control for the entire ship to come in. And it is now tucked very safely inside of Storm Cellar. Pull it all the way over to the palace. And set it down. What is first on the agenda? What would you guys like to do to get things set up here?
Oh boy. I guess try and set up a chain of command, first of all.
Perfect. The important question there is who's in charge of the city? The people are obviously asking who's the next king. You don't necessarily need to answer that question right now if you're not ready to answer that question. But they need to know the chain of command.
I might die still, so let's not point fingers at me just yet.
Shoo.
For the chain of command, fuck off, Shu. Absolutely not. I guess start with just forming some kind of a council. Basically, break down the major districts that need to be like running to have a functioning city. So like the waterworks, the farms,
Perfect.
all that sort of stuff. Set up like the guard, and essentially set somebody in charge of handling that kind of infrastructure.
Out of pure pot-stirring curiosity and love for drama, is there anyone among the first 31 heirs to the Emerald Throne that is like, I'm the king now?
I was just about to ask for a D100 roll.
Yes. Just a one?
Just the one.
Please be a 1 or a 100. Damn it.
As the first day kind of goes on and you begin to just like start taking accounts of who's still alive, who's not, and importantly, does anybody come to the palace? Does anybody return that belongs at the palace? You find a lot of staff returns. You actually find that the care staff at the palace was kind of left alone because he wanted people to wait on him and dote on him, to take care of him. It was mostly the other nobles that were just executed, and you come to learn oftentimes like cooked and eaten in the horrible, gruesome, draconic ways. However,
Gross.
you do find that over the next 24, 48 hours, a couple of people do make their way back to the palace. One of them managed to sneak off into the pit and literally just hid down in the darkness for months, scavenging on bugs and other things. He is meager. He looks like he has barely managed to survive, but he has. You would know that this is Thulia. She has a pretty strong claim. It's a little bit stronger than yours. Most people would put her in like the 19 or 20 mark, roughly. But she doesn't get weird or aggressive about it. She is like happy to do it if people want her to do it, but she's not like making it a bold claim for the throne. She's just happy to be alive. And then there is one other guy who returns who had created this small resistance group that was hiding out behind the barracks in a secret chamber that was set up almost as like a fallout shelter, a bomb shelter next to the barrack. And they had been running like secret missions the whole time. While checking his name. Bonks. Bonks is technically nobility. He is much farther down the line than you. He's somewhere in like the 60-ish ballpark, 65, 67. He's not necessarily being pushy about it. But every time the conversation he comes up, he is like, well, I did so much for the city, and I was here the whole time. I was fighting the good fight the whole time. I must have killed a dozen cultists. The city could use a war hero, and he's got a number of people that actually like agree with him and support him. He's got all of his military buddies that were with him the whole time, killing cultists and dragons, even as they occupied the city. So those are kind of the two other people that show up besides you and Leo that have claims to the throne.
Oh boy.
This sounds like a political adversary later. You want to just kill him?
No. He did a lot for the city.
But his name is Bonks.
Look, we don't get to pick our names, and I get it. Nobody wants to bow to King Bonks, but if that's what the people decide, that's what the people decide.
Okay, he just kind of writes down a note.
I think maybe there's a bigger question to be asked here, Gale, and I know probably you don't quite want to confront it yet, but is this something that you want? Do you want to be the king of Stormcellar?
Maybe.
It is also worth mentioning. Sorry, finish it up first. You go first.
I don't know if it wasn't ever something that felt like attainable, I guess. And now that it feels a little weird. Like this is attainable now because all of my family is dead.
I suppose that's one way of looking at it, but it's also attainable now because you saved the city. I mean, none of this would be if it weren't for you, if it weren't for the months and all the effort you put into planning and making this happen and saving this city, then Daladirith would still be king until further noticed. You're the only reason this city is free. And if you don't want to be its king, it's no skin off my teeth. You should do what you want to do, but the reason we're having this conversation is because of you.
Yeah.
You care very much what people think. Why not sweeping reform? Make them ask what they want.
Let's not get crazy. This is monarchy because it works.
We can't let the people vote. That's
He
crazy.
gestures.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, he gestures outward. Yeah, this definitely worked.
Listen, we freed them
Guys.
from slavery. We can't give them too many rights.
We are straight up role playing the end of Game of Thrones right now. We have to stop.
For the time being, while you are deciding how you feel about it, you're able to get kind of a small council going between Thulia, Bunks, Leo, yourself, presumably
Hey, small
Marvel,
cut.
and begin kind of divvying up projects throughout the city. I assume that first and foremost is gotta get rid of all that poison. Most of it has been gotten rid of, but there's still cleanup to be done.
Yeah.
And then rebuilding, making sure that agriculture is stable.
Disposal is important.
Having a repopulation festival is high on the agenda. Having some sort of a celebration is honestly high on the agenda. These people, it is kind of just an inherent cultural thing that surviving a trial like this, while harrowing, while dramatic, while sad, is a cause for celebration. Kobolds have historically thrown bodies at problems until the problem goes away, and if the problem goes away, that's a victory. And they want to throw a festival in your honor, in the honor of you and all of your party and everybody that came to help. But there are also other very important matters to attend to, and they begin divvying up some of those roles, fixing the prison, dealing with the cultists. That is actually something we should touch on real quick. What is the plan with the cultists? Are you imprisoning them for now? Are you questioning and then executing them? What are your leanings on that?
Boy. We think we hold a festival where all of them fight to the death and the survivor gets to live. I don't know, probably hold some. How many? Well, yeah, how many prisoners are we talking? We're talking like hundreds, or like
No, by the end of the sweep, by the end of like the first or second day, and there will be stragglers as like people hiding in closets around and stuff like that. But you estimate that there's probably going to be about 70 or 80 surviving cultists. And out of those, I would say that maybe 2 or 3 of them are serious threats. It is higher level wizards that could potentially do spells. Fortunately, you have wizards on staff that can kind of maintain a silence area and do their best to make sure that that doesn't happen. You have competent guards. You'll have people with counterspell on duty the entire time. They'll be gagged. They'll be bound. But yeah, like 80 or so low-level cultists, and then 2 or 3 that are like very serious threats: warlocks, wizards, things like that.
for the serious threats, they'll probably be put to death.
Understood.
What's the method of execution?
Burning at the stake.
Goodness.
Quiz.
No, I probably just have Toto eat them.
Death by
Goodness.
Worse than the burning.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Make them the first sacrifices in the repopulation orgy.
So we found the worst option.
Goodness.
They,
Gets worse every time.
Couldn't you just
I don't know.
shove them off a cliff?
No, they can fly.
Feather fall.
Couldn't you tie
Well-
them and then shove them off a cliff?
Hold
May
them down
I
in the bathtub for a
recommend-
little bit.
And they might not die. I'll just execution by. We strap them to the remaining fireworks.
Perfect. I also was not going to ask how you execute these prisoners, but I'm glad somebody did.
I don't know. We execute them as humanely as possible.
Understood. I'm into that.
Lethal injection, says
whatever that-
Flurgle. He produces
No.
a bunch of poison.
Absolutely not. We just. Can I tend the rabbits and shoot them in the back of the head?
All right.
Okay.
Understood. Perfect.
Ooh, you do it yourself?
Probably.
Mm.
It's a king's job to execute, yes?
No, it's not. But it's
If
the
you
king's
were,
job to give the order, and if I'm gonna give the order, I'm gonna do it.
You might as
I mean,
well.
it's kind of cool, but
the
it also
rest-
like puts the fear of God in them. But you're God.
Yeah, we really are getting like way too Game of Thrones here.
I was gonna say this is also direct Game of Thrones quote.
I
I'll say you're
will,
making a damn good impression.
with the rest of them, we'll just hold trials periodically to essentially figure out how heinous their crimes are. Anyone who is like directly or seriously responsible for a bunch of heinous shit will probably also be executed, and anyone else might just be shipped off and put on a boat and pushed into the ocean.
Okay, excellent.
Let God sort them out.
Perfect. A lot of it is just minutia. I'm not going to make you sit here and base build to rebuild Stormzilla over the next couple of months. But there's at least 2 other pertinent events that come up over the next couple of days. And I might think of more, but I think those are the big 2. The first one is the one that comes up earliest. On about midday of the second day, and actually I'm going to go in advance to a new day, you get a report from the guys over at the Mage Tower that contact with the outside world has been reestablished. The royal family of Willinquet was concerned. They heard the news. They knew what happened at Stormcellar. That sounded a whole lot like an echo of the Wars of Korax. They were rightfully under the suspicion that dragons had taken over the city. They divined it and confirmed it was true. And now that you've retaken the city, the king of Willinquet wants to send people over to help you rebuild and have a meeting with you. If you are open to that.
Do they give us a timeline for it?
At first, they just want to send a couple diplomats over to make sure that things are stable. It would include some of their best social planners, and they would also ship just a bunch of whatever you need, raw materials. They understand that just sending a bunch of gold over doesn't actually help the city, but if you need healers, they will send healers. They're basically going to send a small diplomatic party first to assess the problem, make sure that things are stable, and then maybe a week or a month from now, you will have a meeting with the king who will talk about you get the sense you're smart. What? Give me an insight check. You can make it with intelligence if you want. You can also do history if that's better for you. The political family in Willinquet understands that the king of Stormcellar is dead, and there's about to be a new one. They want to get in good with the new royalty and they want to foster the relationship between your kingdom and Willinquet. And they are willing to give you a care package to start making that relationship go well. It is possible that in return they might want maybe a seat on the council or something. There might be some deals involved at some point. But for now, it is just a gift. It is just a gift of goodwill.
Right. If they're just offering a gift of goodwill currently, I'm going to milk the hell out of it.
Hell yeah.
And basically push for as much as I can. That I think is going to be relevant and helpful to the city. So important things would be if they could send people who are capable of cleansing poisons, and anyone capable of helping rebuild structures.
Absolutely. And sure enough, they do. They send some of their best architects. They send a couple of very powerful healers. They send some of their royal guard. They do even kind of send over a couple of these just big fucking griffins. You've probably all seen griffins at some point in your life. These are some of the biggest and most this is the griffin equivalent of a warhorse. This thing is a time and a half bigger than a normal griffin. The beak is curled down, and you can see it's actually been filed and sharpened, these onyx black beaks. This is the royal guard of one of the most prosperous kingdoms on the planet. And it's a little bizarre to you because they're all wearing this extremely ornate kind of plate armor and regal mage robes that is all emblazoned with the face of the non-cartoonified Burger King that you've all seen. He just looks like the normal dude that the Burger King is based on.
Great.
But they are here to help, and they are able to join you for the next couple of days to start healing your people and rebuilding structures. A second thing comes up the next day, and I'll advance us to the next one. You are informed that most of the population of the city had been taken down into the mines. where they had been pretty exclusively digging a tunnel southeast towards the Snake Lights. And that tunnel is most of the way complete. It's about a day and a half from completion. Along the way, they've been stripping up stillstones, they've been bringing up valuables, but the plan was they were burrowing a tunnel to the Snake Lights from Storm Cellar.
Great.
Do we want that complete?
Probably not.
I think that begs the question of where we're headed next. Just
Yeah.
Fill it right back up again.
Well, we can make that decision after we go and help Flick and Moat with their stuff.
Yeah.
As you are being given the tour of these tunnels that eventually lead off to the Snake Lights, it does strike you as noteworthy. There's a ton of stillstones down there. All the ones that are dense enough to be valuable have already been harvested. But gleaming in the corner of your eye, refusing to leave your attention, kind of haunting you over your shoulder the entire time, there is a massive pillar of this enormous red stillstone vein, probably as tall as a 3-story building, that just kind of runs floor to ceiling in one of these caverns.
Ooh, stay making a wide berth of that.
Noted. Understood.
If I'm read that thing correctly.
You would yeah, probably. What's your... You're smart. Give me an Arcana check. I'll make sure that you kind of have the correct understanding of the note that he left behind. The impression that you got from his contingency plan and the detailed instructions within, you could siphon the power out of that stillstone. It would explode the stillstone. It would probably cave in part of that cavern. And it would return you to normal, which has multiple meanings. First of all, you would be able to regenerate again, potentially. But second, you would be susceptible to stillbirth again. If you continue to leave stillstones in your body, it will decay your body.
Right.
But you would also know you'd be back to normal. You'd be your whole self again, potentially. And I leave that decision to you.
Alrighty. Well, I will keep a wide berth of it for now.
Cool. Those are the two really big events that happened over the next few days. By the end of like the third day, going into the fourth day, almost everybody has snapped out of their stupor. The city is alive again. People are beginning to the streets are cleaned. There's piles of rubbish that need to be dealt with everywhere, but stores are starting to open back up. People are returning to their homes. Empty homes are being tallied so that they can be, listed and eventually refilled, probably a few months after the repopulation festival. And people are starting to celebrate. They're starting to get this festival going. They're starting to put parades together. It's up to you if you want to partake in that, if you give any speeches. They would love to. Every time that you do make an appearance, there is just raucous celebration. A crowd is gathered outside the palace where people are bringing gifts. They're bringing trinkets of the people who fell during all of this to give to you. Every time they see you, they applaud, they cheer for you. And that's not just you. Any of your party members, Bonks, Leo as well. Leo is probably, out of the four of you that kind of have claim to the throne, the one that enjoys being the face of the kingdom the most. He eats it up. He loves the people, and the people love him. So he's out there on the balcony all the time, kind of giving these heartwarming speeches and these rousing chants. But it falls to you where you're headed next. If you guys want to head straight down to the Snake Lights, or if you want to investigate some of the leads that you've found with Flick needs to go to the astral plane, or Moat knows that there's some cult activity in the order.
Yeah.
I think Gale definitely gives a speech. I'm not good enough to make one myself, but
Understood. I know that feeling.
he does attempt something.
Yeah.
Give me
It's
Flurgle.
doing- It's very
Flurgle's-
awkward and mechanical.
Oh no.
Perfect.
Flurgle's gonna help by making like a big old illusion of Gale, so that everyone can kind of see him, kind of like a big jumbotron
Right.
that kind of mimics how he's moving and stuff and talking,
Okay.
making
Man,
it louder.
But now if he fucks up, he's 40 times as big.
True.
Right, if you
Yeah.
do, if Flurgle does that, I'm going to give myself disadvantage because I'm nervous.
I am going to give him also enhance ability
Okay, that'll cancel it out.
and also a bardic inspiration,
all right.
which
It's
you
like
roll
that time they brought
2d12.
back to Coachella.
Noted. There is this horrible sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach when you first see that giant image of yourself. You see all of your blemishes. You see the wrinkles
He
under your
looks so
eyes.
nervous.
You can see every pore on your skin. You see the stillstone embedded in your eye. There's a moment where you turn your shoulder to kind of talk to one of your advisors, and you can see there's no wings on your back. But then you feel this kind of resolve. You look out and you see the faces, and you can also kind of feel the magic set in. These people don't see your blemishes. They see a family member that has returned to save them. One who is more powerful than they could ever aspire to be, and who built his own power. They see Toto walk up to your side, and Toto kind of nudges his head up under your arm and just kind of sits real tight to you. You can feel just the hum of his magic. Fully repaired as he takes a seat next to you. He's got this almost like regal appearance. And give me a persuasion check.
Okay. He just can take a breath and then cast guidance on himself.
18 plus 2d12, just take the highest.
So,
26? I guess it'd be 27 because you have the guidance already built in up there.
oh yeah, I do. So yeah,
Um,
1-7.
as is usually the case, the first 2 minutes of the speech, you don't even remember what happened. It's just a blur. It is just the like, oh god, what's happening?
Internal screaming.
Nonsense rambling.
Yeah. But there's a point about 2.5 minutes in where you find the track again, you find the groove, and you begin to start feeling the weight behind the words that you're saying. These words of encouragement, of rebuilding, of celebration, and also respect for the dead. And when you finally conclude, there is just a wave of applause that kind of rolls out. These people have been hearing the exploits of Bonks the whole time. They've been hearing the encouragement and the praises of Leo the whole time, but to hear kind of a more somber approach and a more pragmatic approach, and like, this is what we're going to do for the city, this is what we're doing right now, and more importantly, we're going to go chase down the evil that did this to you. We're not just here to fight them off and survive, we're here to put an end to this for good. It fills the city with fire, and that fire lasts the entire day. The fireworks are nonstop, the music is nonstop. The festivals begin early, and the entire city is just alight with color and sound and music for the entirety of the day.
Now let the repopulation begin.
Do you say it?
Wait, we have to leave first. Ah!
You utter the words, and the streets are no longer safe.
Lock myself in the castle.
Noted. Alright.
No, Republic.
Alright. I'll go ahead and roll one more new day, one more short rest if anybody needs it. You guys are on Friday, November 29th. And I believe, unless you have any more business that you want to do before leaving Storm Cellar, it is about time for you to continue to your next adventure.
Also, the illusion of Gale is still there. It's a fucking 6th level.
Oh,
It's permanent.
Excellent.
Just a super minor thing, but that last night, before going to bed, as the town is sort of like in revelry with fireworks going up and stuff, Nordo finds somewhere to have a seat and pull out his stone from the Underdark and just tap it. And in Nomad's voice, it goes, "Hello, friend." And he is like, "You'd be proud of him, Nomad." And then that's it. Goes to bed.
And to peel back a little bit, somewhere up in the stars, heaven, wherever it is, Nomad feels, it's an unusual feeling, sympathy, the worship and the admiration of strangers you've never met, thousands of people saying your name all at once in unison. But as Flurgle kind of tells his bits of the story to just random passersby in the street, spreading the name of Nomad to people who have not heard the name before, talking about it to the cleaning crew even on that first day in the palace, Nomad sees little visions of the party back down in the material plane, in a little hole in the ground called Storm Cellar. And although he is kind of busy solving this terrible interwoven logic puzzle of how do I separate the corruption from what remains of all of the outsiders buried deep beneath the sea, it is a moment of respite for him to have his attention pulled forcibly away from that conflict into a side of victory, where people are learning his name, and there are a few new voices that add their prayers to yours in the morning, that thank you for sending heroes to save the city.
Nomad is super giddy, and he's like, I sent no one. Someone tell them I didn't do it. It was their choice. He
Yeah.
probably sent a dream to someone.
I was gonna say, you probably get enough sympathy from that to just, like, send a little dream to everyone tonight if you feel like it, to congratulate them on their victory.
Yeah, he's like, no, I didn't do this. It's them. It's all them.
If not, Vasu's definitely the sort of modest type who would be like, oh, we all got here. We kind of, we got here together, but we wouldn't have got here without Nomad too, probably. I mean, it was a group effort.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm sure we would have died without Nomad. If not healing
Oh
us.
yeah, I mean, you especially a couple of times.
Right, for sure. Yeah, very true.
Me too. I don't want to
And to be clear, it is up to each of you how much you want to indulge in it. If you go to the streets during this festival, you thought you were being treated well in the palace because you had kind of this quiet, posh treatment by a dozen people that were like tending to your every need. If you go into the streets, every citizen in this city wants to know every detail of your life, all of your heroic accomplishments, and they will do anything you want. You have the entire city's favor right now. It is up to you how much you want to indulge in that. You are heroes of the city at this point. Even more so than back in Unmirage, where there was this very kind of like dismal sadness that still loomed over the city. There has been loss here, but these people are ready to rebuild. They are ready to celebrate those who died giving service, saving the city, and they are ready to hail the champions that made it possible.
Hell yeah.
There are people that are like already starting to build clay statues of each of you. Some of them have painted depictions of the battle as you describe it. If any of you lie about how cool you were in the fight against Ozadirith, that becomes canon in this city. They start writing your names into the history books. You guys are welcome to paint your own pictures of how you helped save this city. And it will probably be passed down for generations.
Oh boy. A thing I think Flurgle would have done early on before while everyone was recovering was like, oh, we're in the castle now. It's a safe place. I'm covered in blood of dead kobolds from the ones that I've been picking bodies off. And kind of stitching together to make them look nice for the burial.
Absolutely.
I go to like Nordo at some point. And I knock on Nordo's door. If he opens it, he just sees Flurgle looking a little frantic, and he's just like, High Priest, help.
He puts his little nomad stone away. So what's wrong, Flurgle?
I don't know what to do. You are High Priest of Nomad? And
I don't know about all that.
you are his only priest, I think. Making you High Priest.
Wait, ain't you his priest?
He just shakes his head.
I guess you're right then.
One day, when I woke up, I had a dream the night before. And in this dream, he struggles to like describe the thing that happened in this dream in a way where like people make plans, people see the future. Kuotoa don't super do that. Word was prophecy? The future. Yeah?
Hold on, let me see if I know the word prophecy.
Yeah. Yeah, what Unga Bunga tomorrow times.
Oh yeah, sure. I've heard of it.
That was probably gibberish. I
Bunga
don't
bunga
speak orc.
future spoilers.
Unga Bunga spoilers.
For sure, for sure don't know the word prophecy, but yeah, like when real smart magic people see the future.
Yeah. So I had this dream, and it showed everything to me that I would ever do forever, and then I forgot everything.
Well,
And that's just normal for dreams, I think.
yeah, I don't usually remember my dreams neither. Are you sure this was uh, a prophecy, or was it just like you had a dream because you ate something?
It was different. My dreams are usually just, oh, I wake up and do normal things. Sometimes I dream of fish.
I often dream of fish. I ever tell you about the time I went fishing with Leah?
Whatever happened to
There was a
Vine?
red beetle, and Leo talked about it sometimes.
I'm impressed you remembered that. I forgot.
I only remember things that happened. But yeah, I woke up and I was different.
Different how?
I I saw not the future, but more choices. I had stronger connections. The the bonds I was talking about before. And the dream, one thing I remember is I am Nomad's son? Question mark? He says question mark out loud. And I remember that wasn't super fair. Because when they adopted me, I was already adult. But it was nice to have a mother.
I I don't quite know if I know the best way to help you, but I think that if Nomad was here, he would tell you that you always have a choice. Don't matter what you dreamed or what you forgot. You always have a choice to do what you think you ought to do. What's best.
Ah, fuck. But what if I am still evil? It's like a genuine,
Right.
like, apprehension and fear in him. Because of the
That
things he did.
yeah, that level. I don't know what Flurgle's insight is, but that level of you probably see that exact feeling reflected directly back at you from Nordo.
The oh fuck, what if I'm still evil?
Right.
Let's see. It's 17. It's okay.
Give myself a little disadvantage here. Not really even trying necessarily to hide it. Yeah, that tracks.
Oh, that's fair.
Um, if you find the answer to that question, friend Flurgle, you let me know, because I've been looking for it for years.
He perks up
I've-
with that.
I've asked some people a whole lot smarter than me, and I've even asked when Nomad left us, or at least left this world, this plane, I guess. We met for a little bit with Adra, with the goddess what Moat worships, the balance god. And if anyone knows, it'd be her. I don't know as there is such a thing as a person what's evil or a person what's good. All there is what you do. I ain't told you much, but I've done some pretty terrible things. But I've done some pretty damn good things too. And I don't know if there's some scale up there in the heavens what puts one against the other when it's all said and done, but all we can do is do good. I think that's what Nomad would tell you. Just try to do good.
He nods. This is why you were high priest? I would not have thought of this myself.
Again, I understand that maybe that's technically true, but by virtue of being the only priest,
You have to understand, Nomad is all about technicalities.
Nora laughs at that. No, you're right. I'm sure if I asked him right now, he'd say I was the high priest. Should probably learn his tenets or something. Read
I
one of
have
those.
them.
I should probably read one of those brochures he keeps handing out to people. I never did take one.
There are like a stack of them back in the ship. Just kind of sitting there. I've been meaning to hand them out. I just don't think it's a good place. Okay. The answer I suppose we have is to keep searching, keep doing good things, do better.
I think so. At least that's what I'm. Of all the time I spent with Nomad, that's what I got from it. Just keep trying to do better.
When Mama was alive, still alive? He doesn't seem very. We have his dead body, so maybe gods are confusing. Um, when he was still walking in his mortal form with me, he said once that my brothers and sisters were all wronged and we had something taken from us. Big things. Things we deserve to have. I think I want to get that back.
I think that seems a fine idea to me.
And for this must make Nomad more powerful?
To be honest with you, I have no idea. I don't know how this whole being a god or being ascended or how he gets his power or where. I don't know what it sympathy and all that means. I believed, still believe in Nomad, the person, the jellyfish looking motherfucker who traveled with us for all this this time we were together. Believed in him. Believed in what he stood for. And if he gets power out of that, then well, more power to him.
Literally.
Literally. Yeah, technically, again, the best thing is technical. I don't know what to do, so my soul says to get the pamphlets he wrote as a live nomad and ask Gale if I can pass them around.
I think that seems a fine idea. I would just, whatever Gale tells you, maybe respect it, even if it ain't the answer you're looking for. He's got a whole lot to process right now. Everything.
I understand.
I think he's real afraid of. He's real afraid of taking the wrong step, and maybe it's making him not take any step at all.
Maybe he could use some of your guidance as well, eh, High Priest?
I think right now he just needs support.
I do not know him very well. How do you support someone like Gale? Does he like music?
Nor holds back the thought that what he really likes is donut nuts.
He abandoned those!
He did give up donut nuts just recently.
That was all I had. That's all Thurgle knew. His addiction to donut nuts.
Just friends. He just needs friends right now, without any sort of strings attached or second motives.
Kind of gazes upward at the ceiling. And then he has a firm nod. I'll see what I can do. And then later there's a knock on Gale's door.
Before that,
Yep.
Gale was also going to go see Nordo,
Perfect.
but he gets down the hallway and sees Flurgle knock on the door ahead of him. And just kind of looks down at this stupid bottle of booze that he's carrying, and then goes back to his room and locks it.
Oh, I hate it.
Booze. He's gonna go drink. Then he gets a knock on his door.
Yeah, he doesn't open it.
So, like, when no one answers, he just kind of takes out a slip of paper. And then writes on it in his fishy handwriting. Do you want to be friends? And there's like a box for yes, the box for no. And he slips it underneath the door.
Aw.
And he signs it Fleur. It goes to the back.
It's just like wraps around the whole page.
Yeah, the goals.
Well, we really have been abbreviating that.
There's a character limit on Roll20, and he
There's a
couldn't put it all
character
in.
limit.
Yeah, he'll take a big swig of whatever terrible, like, bug-based alcohol that they make here,
What?
and goes over to it. Uh, he'll kind of hesitantly scratch in yes, and then on the back of the page, kind of wherever your name isn't, he'll put, all right, do you, and question mark, and slip it back.
If Gale's behind the door, he probably hears like excited stomping. It's a plap plap plap, and then another piece of paper. The first one comes in again with the yes checked, and then a second slip of paper that just reads, "I like to sing. What do you like?"
I think really early on in the campaign, if I'm recalling, because we've been playing this campaign for 3 billion years,
True.
that Yale is very bad at music and doesn't really know anything about it. Like, he has no sense of tone or anything musically related.
Right.
So he'll just put, I don't know.
It gets pushed back in. How about dance?
Alright, so I only have one right foot.
The paper gets pushed back. The first part has been scratched out like vigorously, as if like, "Oh my fucking bad," and that's actually written underneath, "Oh my fucking bad," and then just, "Do you like Toto?" And there's like a little doodle of Toto. It's not very good.
Yeah, he just puts yes.
And he's just like, "I like Toto too. Tell me about Toto." And I think it's just he starts like a text chain of these papers. Underneath.
Every
Just the rest.
Every time that Gil answers, he like thinks this is over, and then like starts to go back to his treasure pile, and then the note comes back through, and he's like, "God damn it!" Takes another swig of this drink. Eventually, after a long text chain of him explaining about Toto, he's probably like super drunk and passes out like next to the door.
Excellent.
One last piece of paper probably
Like
pushes in, wedges under Gale's cheek, and just says, "I can see you."
push it in, but it keeps like hitting his body, so it can't go fully through.
He crunkles against it. There is so much paper on the outside. He just kind of sits there and just probably takes a nap as well.
You guys just have a pile of those like notes folded into little paper triangles.
Yeah.
Oh, so many.
Mm-hmm.
On the topic of passing note, have you shown anyone else the document, or have you told anyone else what you learned in the document, other than the party, or other than Nordo, I guess?
Yeah, just me
I
so far. I think.
just told Nordo. I imagine that somebody probably, if anybody had asked, he probably would have shown it, but he's not actively telling anyone.
Noted. I
But
don't.
he's also not hiding it necessarily.
Right,
If people
right.
get curious.
I don't think it would be unlikely for anyone else to even know about it unless you voluntarily show it to them. So I'll go with
Like
that
I had
for now.
shown, I think I had shown everybody the note pre breaking the seal,
Gotcha. Okay.
but then left it up to everybody. Like, should we break this open? It doesn't appear magical or anything. Like,
Okay.
I don't think it's going to explode, but yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Cool. Good to know.
Where is it in magic items? I don't see it, or not in magic items, but
Let's
enemy
see.
world.
Enemies in World, Storm Cellar. It is the Worley Contingency Plan.
Oh, there it is. Cool.
The short version synopsis is like, Gail's mom was the
Granddaughter?
granddaughter of Ozymandias's like lady.
Ah.
Wife seems generous given what their relationship seems to have been.
Yeah.
It's
He
also
hunted down.
Cum dump.
Yeah.
it's also muddled
Hey.
a bit because, like all truly terrible royalty, there was like some. So okay, no, Ozymandias is both your grandfather and your great grandfather.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Right. Little zesty.
Inbreeding.
Yeah, little inbreeding.
Little
going on.
zesty.
Keep the bloodline pure.
Yeah,
We are Game of Thrones.
gotta keep that dragon blood flowing.
Does that
It's just
mean
this-
Gale is just a tiny bit inbred?
Tiny bit.
Tiny bit.
It's got just the slightest bit of an underbite from it.
Oh, he got cuter.
But I'm also a different species, so who knows how that.
Well, that's
Backwards.
true. What the? How does that even carry on? I don't fucking know.
Yeah, for the record, I
Dragon.
actually don't know. I feel like a lot of animals are more resilient to it than humans are, but I don't know the answer, and this is a weird line to cross, so I'm not going to.
Who knows? Maybe kobolds just work different on the count of
Kobolds-
like they breed so much. Like I feel like there must be
Yeah.
some sort of crossbreeding.
For the record, if kobolds aren't like resilient to this somehow, to inbreeding, like the entire species is fucked. The King's Blood is
Yeah.
in 10% of the population of the city, and lots
Yeah.
of them are having sex with each other. So
10%.
yeah,
It's a lot.
This king fucked.
Got a Genghis Khan situation going on.
Yeah, Gale has
Wasn't-
big shoes to fill.
It was what 1 in 11
Someone,
kobolds?
yeah, about 1 in 11. Yeah,
It's like Genghis Khan. This
Just
entire
shy of
place.
10%.
all right, cool.
Wait.
Or go ahead, unless you got something.
No, I think that was it. Just, it's a long note. The most important thing is that I'm directly related to Ozymandias, and my mommy's dead.
I'm sorry.
But you're the only one whose mom is her?
Yes, it seems
Okay.
like that.
Yeah, and that is unusual. It is something that she clearly did very intentionally. It is almost kind of weird for a ruling queen in this city to not spread her blood around.
I wonder.
It's rather odd.
Yeah. As you can see, when you look outside, our people like to spread our blood around a lot.
Oh yeah, I gathered that
There's
pretty quickly.
There's a couple other fluids being spread around out there.
I'm
Yeah, I kind of
covered
thought
in
that
your
would
people.
like.
Make sure you grab an
There's
umbrella
blood.
if you go outside, folks.
God.
Are they in
kinda
the
thought
air?
Maybe 8 to 12 hours of that would be
Some.
enough, but they're still going.
Some of them are probably flying or at least like climbing on things, right?
Wait, we've been to the Feywilds, and this is more than that.
I need to go start handing out water.
We haven't
Oh,
actually
yeah.
been to the Feywild, by the way. That was just a dream.
Sure, it was Norda.
Uh huh.
I forgot
Forgot
about
about
that.
that too. Yeah.
Same.
That was a good callback.
For the sake of things lining up nicely, because they do, you guys are able to rest until Sunday in here, which is also the 1st of December, which means you get a little message and a Galders from Elise down in Unbarrage.
Aw.
She has prepared just a little care package. At this point,
Care
you
package.
guys have more money than God from the Wandering Sun, but she does send each of you 1,000 gold for your contributions to Unbarrage.
No joke. I was down to 3 gold pieces, so this is
How?
good for
Wow.
me.
There
Okay,
you have it.
I was going to consider sending this gold back to Elise, but if I have any way of noticing how poor Nordo is right now, I'll give him mine.
His money pouch is probably.
I'm just like, Nordo, you're less
Go back.
you're less jingly than you usually are.
Yeah, I gave away my last few gold pieces to the cleaning kobolds. What was making my bed for me? They wouldn't let me help, so I just gave some money instead. I think that's what you're supposed to do.
You're very kind, but I don't think you have to tip him quite that much.
Yeah, I ain't got no use for it. I got everything I need.
Should I just give this to them too then?
It's fine with me. Whatever you want to do with it's your money.
Okay.
I mean, if you're giving it away,
Can I sneak this into the like the crook of Nordo's shell without him noticing?
1,000 gold? No.
1,000 gold.
I forgot that paper money isn't a thing. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty
No.
hard.
Some of it is definitely in the form of crystals. With that said, even in the form of gems, this is probably like 20 big diamonds.
Yeah, never
Just
mind.
chuck a bag full of rocks at his head.
Just while you're asleep.
so my passive perception 21. I'm for sure not paying any. Nordo doesn't
Under his
care
pillow.
about money, so like he doesn't take good care of his coin purse.
Yeah.
You could probably slip it in there without
Yeah.
him noticing.
It won't be like a single action, but with the 23 versus the 21, very slowly over the course of
Over the
like
course
a
of
5 or
3
10
days.
minute conversation, you can feed one diamond at a time into his coin purse until suddenly there's 1,000 gold worth of diamonds.
I
in his
just
coin
I just
purse.
probably try to hold his attention, and the whole time she was like taking one diamond out of my coin purse, hopping down to the floor, trotting around, and dropping it into Nordo.
Yeah, I like it.
Works perfect.
Flick,
Thanks.
what's up?
Gale, is there a room with a bunch of pillows in your castle somewhere? Palace.
There used to be. It's probably been replaced
Yeah.
with poison or gold, but
Shit.
probably find something.
I need to get all these kobolds out of my demi-plane, but like I don't want to have to manually get them out.
Oh, right.
Forgot about that, yeah.
God, I hope they had enough food.
We threw a lot in there. I think they're okay.
Okay,
Threw in a
yeah.
lot of food.
No,
It was like
what,
rations, right? I had a bunch of those in my pocket.
Yeah.
here's
How about
what we'll do.
water?
It's gonna
Yeah,
be fucking Lord of the Flies in there when we open that thing up.
we'll take them into the bath, and then we can dump them into the water there.
Okay, that works.
I could also make a trampoline. What?
Alright, you conjure a fresh demi-plane.
I-
Presumably get the guards with you, like take some precautions.
Yeah,
Okay.
Just in
we
case.
hopefully they've. It's been a week, so that hopefully they've just cleansed themselves over the course of the time. But just in case, I'll go get all the gold out of the fucking bathroom, and then I'm gonna refill it with water, and then mix in a bunch of gelatin.
Gelatin?
Yeah, they're gonna be hungry. And then we can drop them onto the Jello, and then they can eat their way out.
What
You
flavor
just
is that?
invented Jello.
I am
Just
actually...
invented-
Jellin? Okay, interesting.
Okay, like instant Jello definitely didn't exist, but
Yeah.
they might have had some sort of like aspect or something.
I had to look, I was curious. It is pretty early. Gelatin, like cooking gelatin was early, or was like 1682. So yeah, it probably exists.
Probably.
I mean, it's basically just melted and ground bone.
Yeah.
In fact,
Yeah.
don't get into like historical accuracying us out of a kobold jello wrestling.
I would never. I'm doing this in support of it.
Beautiful.
Yeah. You're also, for the record, Gale's an alchemist. Gale definitely knows how to make gelatin and knows that it is technically edible, although you typically want to put some like, if man cannot
Fine, I'll put
subsist
some.
on
Fine, I'll put some
gelatin
flavor
alone.
into it.
Here, we can
Oh.
chop up some olives and some ham and
Yeah.
bananas,
Yeah.
and then cover the top of it with a layer of mayonnaise.
Why can't you just put fruit in it? Why do you have to make it weird with all that other shit?
Well, we don't have fruit
It's
here.
aspic. It has to
Oh.
be meaty.
Doesn't your pumpkin man grow fruit
Yeah,
downstairs?
you guys definitely.
Oh, we can make pumpkin jello. That'll be good.
That'll be good. Yeah, also, I mentioned it in chat earlier. Most of you guys have a diet that's like mushroom based on here, but the farming district is built around a giant green crystal explicitly so that it can grow other crops. You have some other
Oh.
crops down here.
We'll do pumpkin and mushroom jello.
It comes
Sounds
out as a
savory.
12.
A 12 is. prison
You'd
stock,
have
so
help,
this is
right?
appropriate.
You'd have help.
That's true,
That's
I guess.
true. That's true.
The
I
one,
don't count anything that I'm doing as helping.
Well, Flambe is
No.
interested in this.
That's
the
fair.
one feels like a pretty
Yeah.
accurate result for gelatin and pumpkins.
Yeah.
But here's the second
Yeah.
roll.
Add a 2d12.
Oh, we're taking this from
But
the
remove,
worst
like-
possible thing to some delicious.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
just-
Don't worry,
well,
it's just
just 12.
52.
No, don't add
okay.
all of it, just the highest.
I see what you're saying. That's still 41,
that is
though.
still 41.
This is the best
41
dish
jello.
Shoto has ever cooked.
Flambe and Jack are both on board for this idea. And Jack actually works with Gordy specifically to not just give you pumpkins. Gordy gives you the best pumpkins you've ever seen in your entire life. It is the most perfect prime ripe pumpkin, bursting with flavor. You get some cinnamon in there, a little bit of nutmeg. Your prison slop is now a delicacy.
We did get to 51 as the total after Flash.
51, I think, is actually also the new highest roll in the campaign.
No,
This
Gale.
Pumpkin Jello.
Pumpkin
It's the same
spice
as Gale.
jello is as good as it gets.
I'm not going to flash this.
Okay.
We're
Okay.
about to go and fight God. I
Yeah,
need my flash.
fair. Okay, fair.
'Tis the season for pumpkin spice jello.
I love this idea tremendously. I'm going to actually say that, like, when you guys finally fill the bathtub with the most delicious jello that the world has ever seen, and then dump 40 kobolds into it, initially there's, like, a scuffle, right? The guards have to, like, apprehend people, put knees on backs, things like that. Some of the cultists start casting spells, and you have to do a quick fight to knock a few of them out. But what really tips things over is, like, after the first few go down, a couple are like, you guys try this jello? This jello's real fucking good. And everybody is, like, all of the remaining, like, 35 kobold cultists like, you're serving this in the prisons? And they're like, yeah, man, take us to prison. We'll go work, yeah, the legal system. Let's go. Woo, we repent.
I think a lot of also kobolds in the demiplane were innocent.
Oh, that's true.
They were mind
right.
controlled.
They're
Yeah, they were the
mind
mind controlled ones.
You're right. You didn't dump any of the cultists down there.
Yeah, we killed the
yeah.
cultists.
Yeah, you killed all
3
the
square
cultists.
meals of
And Vasu killed the
pumpkin.
innocent ones.
No,
Yes,
the
you
lightning did that.
I don't kill people.
And I had a big cry about it.
All right, delightful. In that case, it's just a happy day all around. There's like 40 kobolds in the bathtub eating the world's best jello.
I might be wrong, but I assumed that these baths were like Roman style, so
Oh,
it's more of
for
a
sure.
pool than a
Yeah.
bathtub.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. This is a royal bathhouse.
Right.
Yeah. All right, sick. With them released, is there any other business you guys have here in town? If not, we'll go ahead and call it, and I'll start prepping for your next adventure.
Oh yeah. I eventually do ask Gil if it's okay to like spread nomads to get more sympathy.
Let me proofread all of it.
Sure.
I make a bunch of edits to make sure it's as you know what we just dealt with one cult. Maybe
It's an actual religion.
I know, but can we maybe? I really appreciate that everything that Nomad did for us, and I want to pay respects to him. But we literally just got rid of a full cult. I don't know if my people are going to be emotionally ready to like start bringing in another. So maybe once we get rid of Ozymandias, we can erect like a statue in his honor.
Oh, less about an honor. It's just a lot of these people look like they need direction right now.
Well, that's what Leo's for.
Leo, for the record, takes the pamphlet and starts reading. He's like, oh, this is kind of interesting.
Leo, god damn it.
No,
yeah.
I'm on board. I think it probably is a little too soon, but, you know, yeah, I'll at least start proofreading, right?
Yeah, don't worry. Here. And he like talks to him over it, like, hey, this is the tenets. These are the things like he's kind of about. It's about uplifting people who are like lesser. It's about making yourself healthy and kind to others.
Yeah, he's on board for a lot of it. And honestly, having read your tenets out of character, most of them are pretty non-offensive. He'll probably be okay with all of it, but doesn't, like, there's a lot of other bigger fish he wants to fry before he okays a state-sponsored religious
I
program.
was gonna say, is this gonna be like the Holy Roman Empire before it's all said and done?
Right. To be clear, I don't think that he has a problem with you just, like, literally going on the streets and saying, hey, I'm one of the heroes and this is what I believe. The issue, and I think that Gail would agree with this, is, like, they can't in place a state-sponsored religion right after a coup. That's a pretty big
Oh
deal.
no, it's not
Right.
saying a state thing. He's just saying, can I do this?
Sure,
Can I
sure,
just
sure.
spread it?
If you want to talk to people about Nomad, that's fine. Just
Yeah.
don't expect a lot.
No, I'm not getting paid for anything. This is all I'm asking.
Okay.
All right, sick. For what it's worth, go and give me don't know, proselytize, like, I don't know, persuasion, I guess, to proselytize?
Sure.
Just religion.
Yeah, religion would
Char-
also...
charisma religion.
Charisma religion actually sounds great, yeah.
It's a religion? Cool. Then it's the same as my persuasion.
Perfect.
So it's this. I have advantage because I'm going to enhance my ability. It is
God.
it's a 48.
48. All right, noted. I mean, you've saved a lot of people, and they want to know how you did it. They've seen you literally do miracles, and they're very interested.
Welcome to Nomad.
Yeah.
I'm going to make him strong. We're going to get free feats for this, don't worry.
And more importantly, with a natural 20 and a 48, you find ways to do it that are respectful, non-intrusive. They're cooperative with the other religions already being practiced down here. You do it in a way that is like very convincing and also very socially responsible, which means that you not only are kind of like gaining the favor of the people that adapt the religion, but like, you know, the bar down the street is like, hey, did you see that those priests? And they're like, oh, those guys are nut jobs. Like, no, I heard that they were like doing a food program and they did a soup kitchen and some of them helped fix my house and shit like that. You're gaining not only like religious traction and sympathy for Nomad, but you're kind of making a good name for them throughout the city, even from the people that aren't like jumping on board to start worshiping a new god all of a sudden.
Oh yeah, no, this is just introducing him. I can't start preaching his things. That's a high priest job. I'm a herald. There's a difference.
Legit.
They immediately start erecting a statue of Nomad.
Yeah.
No, wait, that's not.
Meanwhile,
no.
back at the Jello bathtub, I don't know if you guys brought any of the other NPCs in, but if Cass is around, he's absolutely in on that Jello bathtub for sure.
Oh, thank God.
Yep.
The Jello bath.
Hey,
Guys,
you gotta try this.
it's a bathtub full of pumpkin spice jello. Calm yourselves.
Jello.
It sounds great. Shut up.
Yeah, but did
Pumpkin
Cal and
spice
D get in
Jello
together?
Yeah, Cal's like definitely on board to like go check it out and maybe make it weird. And D's like, oh my god, Jello! And he stuffs himself until his stomach hurts, and then he's like, oh, I gotta go sleep.
Guys, people have been in this. People have been in this.
Don't eat it.
This is
There's
people Jello.
There's
There's
so much-
45 people in it.
It's people flavored pumpkin spice jello.
Yeah, after a while, it does definitely go from like, oh my god, this is amazing, to this is just gross now, and then they have to.
Not only that, but it's pumpkin spice jello that has had like 40 kobolds dropped in 40 kobolds who have spent a week in a demi-plane.
Just unwashed kobolds and pumpkin
Unwashed.
spice.
It hadn't been the
Shitting-
whole week. It had been like 3 days.
Shitting
Okay,
and
okay.
pissing off in a corner of this demi-plane.
Oh yeah,
Nope.
that also fell in, huh?
Right.
Oh no.
You gotta get in quick and get out. Get in,
Now,
get your fill, and leave.
I may have
Starts
a,
Give it from the
Prestoing.
top.
I may have a
He
different
starts-
mental image here, but when I said Roman bath, I imagined a Roman bath full of Jello. I imagined like a swimming pool full of Jello. So there's a
Yeah.
lot, but yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I was picturing too.
Good.
I was just watching the Roman bath anime before we started playing.
Oh, is that the guy who went back in time to go,
Yeah.
or the future? The guy who went to the
He
future.
goes to the future and learns new techniques for his bathhouse.
All right. With that, we will probably wrap up there. But I do need an official where to next. Are you going to the astral plane to find the portal to hell and take on the Pale Knight? Or are you heading to
Voted
Moats?
for it. Let's check.
Oh yeah, that's right. We did do a vote. We can
I
just.
think the
We
votes
have
are
a
trending
vote.
to order
Diamond
ballots.
sounds like Damon, so maybe we should go check that out. Wait, are there demons and daemons in this world too? Because that's my least favorite distinction in the world, because they sound exactly the fucking same.
Maybe, but this one you would know. Draconic translates as Demon words.
Demon?
Sounds
Okay.
even more like
That
demon.
sounds... Yeah.
Matt
Demon.
As in, like,
Matt
the adjective form of Diema, perhaps.
Oh, right, Diema.
Or possessive. Alright, that one does
Oh.
look like it's winning by a landslide, so it sounds like the next step is to go check out the circle, Moat's Not Cult,
Yeah.
to find the cult within Moat's Not Cult. And find
Yeah,
out what's
sure.
going on there.
I think
It's
we
just a
check
few
out
bad
that,
apples.
I think we check out that cult because I think that might have some implications and information on the Pale Knight
Right.
too.
Mhm.
Plus, we're already in the material plane, getting to the astral plane, and then hell, and then having to come back here, and then go back to the Snake Lights.
There might be an entrance through the Snake Lights back here, but I'm not sure. The Snake Lights, they throw you to the Crosswinds, no?
The Snake Lights are a series of intricate tunnels directly underneath the shattered islands that make up a lot of Eisenmar, the Hook Diamonds.
Oh, they're not the
It's not the Crosswinds. No, it is a real place on the material plane. It's underground in the Underdark. It's a bunch of tunnels that are filled to the brim with stillstone.
because I remember snake-shaped lights, and I thought that was them.
Gotcha. They're called the Snake Lights because it looks like a giant snake, like burrowed a big old cavern system and left behind a fuckload of stillstone everywhere it went.
Just pooped them out.
Oh,
It is in the Underdark, but it is not a dark place. It is like the walls are made of stillstone.
oh, that's so fancy. We
Um,
can't.
Cool. Excellent.
Can Gale touch it? Does it all count as one big stillstone, or is it like a bunch of small scattered ones?
He can touch it. Gale would also know that to do the thing he's worried about doing, it would require at least like some degree of intent. Like when
Like he has to eat it.
Right, he has to eat it, kind of like he did during the fight, or you guys have seen him do it a few times. But yeah, I will start prepping things in that direction.
Cool. All right, boys. I'm gonna bounce. I'll see most of you on Monday.
Hell yeah.
Have a good bounce.
Hell
Yes. God, I'm so excited.
That new artwork is
We
so
couldn't
fucking
tell.
sick.
It's so good. I love the red part the best.
Yes, the shawl
Thank
thing.
you.
The shawl thing.
It's been a
That's
while
cool.
since I've been so happy with the character design, but I'm very happy with how that
Yeah,
stupid outfit
love-
came out.
I love it to death.
Edgy as fuck, and I love it.
My favorite. Oh, I also like the star button. Star stud. Whatever that is.